Welcome in, everyone, to Titan Esports Divinity League. We're here on week number 6, Group A. I'm Caleb Pang. I'm joined on the mic with Golden Gad. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to get back into some League of Legends action since I've been missing since week 1. Sorry about that, everyone. But here I am, week 6 in the Divinity League. Now a lot of teams have kind of settled in about where they're placing, and the most important thing here today, in my opinion, is that DPI makes a good show of it because they're the ones sitting kind of middle of the table, and you need to be at that top 4 position to be able to actually move along into the playoffs. So, there's definitely some good stakes here since it is only 2 weeks left in the regular season before those playoffs are seeded. So definitely going to need to see some good stuff out of them. And then obviously on the other side, we got CBV to hold it down. So we'll see. They've had a more rough split starting 1 and 4 in this one, but honestly, still got some good stuff in these last 2 weeks. At least you could prove to yourself that moving forward, you guys could do better as a team. So definitely some morale victories they could take here, and definitely some denial if they really take this one.
Yeah, I'm sure they're happy to play some spoiler as well, as they will be going against DPI, who is, I believe, 3-2, and then CB Void is 1-4 so far. But both teams looking to up their records quite a bit. I've been missing since week 2 as well, so we've both been a little bit out of the loop, but I'm sure plenty of people have been tuning into the week. So shout out to everyone that's tuning in here to Divinity League. I know there's kind of a small other league tournament going on in Vancouver. So anyone tune into this one, maybe you have both tournaments on your monitors there. Appreciate the support there. I'm sure the players do as well. As we take a look at the players we have here, as Zog, Nolo, Coyote, King Z, Baba Jam and Air Holes on the side of DPI. It's going to be interesting. And for anyone that's tuning in for the first time for Divinity League, it's the ranks of these players are Emerald 4 and below. And you see most of them are around that area, around that gold to emeralds, realm. And you can see their highest mastery champs as well. But just because they have high mastery doesn't mean anything, because I don't think we're going to see a lot of misfortune mid today.
Yeah, for sure. Some things to note. For instance, obviously on this team we got one Emerald player of King Zoo or King Zo. Definitely an interest, or King Z actually, if I'm right. It's actually
the
Emerald
zeros
4,
and O's kind of throw things off a bit.
Yeah. So sitting right at the cap there, but also this team has been doing pretty well. They are sitting 3-2, so that is a good record going forward. So they definitely have some things to show today. Whereas the other team on the other side, CB Void, may kind of a interesting roster as far as they have Jester, who's actually currently sitting at Emerald 2. So definitely a highlight there in the jungle, as well as some pretty interesting picks as far as AD carry is concerned, with Vayne actually being the most played for that player there of Nikhail. And then on top of that, you got Ari as the highest play rate there for So10 for this season. So expect some pretty aggressive comps, especially out of this team, CB Void. I feel like with those 3 champions, you're expecting pretty heavy jungle attention for either of those lanes, and nice link-up plays that they can actually go for. So I think we'll have a lot of action, but we always have a lot of action down here in Divinity League. A lot of these teams are up and ready to scrap. They don't really mind getting down and dirty, and we're just going to head right into the draft very quickly here, just to make sure we got our due diligence here. This is obviously Fearless, so we're following by the global summoners code now for esports, which is Fearless. So any champs that get picked in this game will no longer be available for the rest of the series. So definitely going to have to keep that in mind. It really does test out these players' champion pools, because, solo queue is one thing where you can pretty reliably play 1 to 2 champions, but when you get to game 3 of a Fearless game, trust me, you're going to be digging deep, because there's going to be targeted bans left and right, as you're seeing there already on the side of DPI. The Vayne, the Galio, things that will link up together very well already banned away, and we're seeing Shen, just an amazingly strong global presence there, just getting banned away as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and this is a best of 3 too, so it could go the distance there. We see the target Fiora ban as well, Sloppy McFloppy, very high mastery on that Fiora, and Fiora just kind of a monster on that side lane pressure, and just a really strong late game carry too. So and we get the Xin Zhao to round out the bans. Looks like DPI is going to be on blue side and has the first pick as well, and they're going to go with the Ashe, the first pick, right? Likely going to be in that bot position, but we've seen Ashe in a support position in the past, so can't count it out completely. So could be a potential flex.
Pretty interesting first pick, especially considering this season. There's a lot stronger AD carries. I was just about to shout out Varus, for instance. If you want a pick potential AD carry, Varus is kind of your go-to right now, and then Jin's kind of the second fall back option. So I'm kind of surprised to see Ashe Prio be so high, but the global playmaking can never be understated there. One pick here, we got Wukong, always a great team fight presence that you can set up fights. It can also play a bit more Peel style, but is always good at dueling. And once Xin Zhao's banned, that's the biggest threat for Wukong. So actually, I do like that look for sure. But we're seeing a very safe lane here of the Braum Ashe. You can't really go wrong with slows and stuns being comboed together. And then on top of that, we're going to get some Poppy. Kind of an interesting pick to pick so early, considering the only real denial she's doing right now is for the Wukong, and that's not even that reliable, since Wukong does have multiple dashes and some CC to deny Poppy's engage. So that's pretty interesting there. I actually do like the Janna. Gives Varus a lot of bonus AD, so if you end up going on hit, you can even rely on Janna's bonus AD to kind of get you over the line for some of the poke as well. So it's a pretty interesting combo, and then also it does pretty well into denying the Poppy from getting a lot of value onto your big carry. So I think it's a pretty cool look here, as we see now mid and top kind of going to be both the pools that are just going to get shrunken down a lot.
Yeah, and there's a small chance that that Poppy could be a top lane Poppy as well. Could be flex there, but it really just depends on the mastery of Zog Nola to see if yeah, he has that Poppy in his toolkit. As we get the Syndra and the Camille ban. So like you said, a lot of mid and top focus bans here. We are going to get the final pick on the side of CB Void. So they do have that counter pick potential for that top lane, and it seems like it's going to be always a chance it's a top lane Wukong, but these days you see a lot more in the jungle. It's going to be the Victor pickup for that mid lane for CB Void. A lot of range on that, so it's going to be quite nice.
Seeing Victor is it's kind of a scary blind pick, but it does do pretty reliably into anything that isn't Akali, which notably Akali isn't banned. So I think Akali could be great here. Obviously, they're the ones having the Poppy here, so you could just go for a full engage comp here instead. But they are going to go for the Orianna, another lane that Orianna does win into Victor, so it's a good lane matchup, but maybe not the best pairings. You don't really have that great of a ball delivery system. But considering that CB Void is playing pretty distant anyways, I don't imagine that you're going to be getting your Renekton onto these carries anyways. So I think it still could work, but they're going to have to work pretty hard for it. And I think Ashe is going to be extremely important for their team comp to be able to actually find some nice team fight engages, because they don't really have too much elsewhere in the tank. And then the final pick to lock us up here is that Cho'Gath. And Cho'Gath, kind of a great like anti dive champion, so they're really relying heavily for CB Void on this kind of more ranged game. You play the poke with the Varus and the Victor there, and then you utilize the Cho'Gath for some anti-dive and a little bit of engage. So I think if I had to favor a comp purely off of just how they've drafted so far, I definitely favor CB Void here. But I think if DPI gets to an early lead and the Renekton's really stomping, because he actually can pop off quite hard on the Cho'Gath, I could see it going that way, but I think it's a little bit more in CB Void's court.
Yeah, and we see that it is going to be the lethality poke Varus based on the runes here for Nicole. So going to try to maintain some of that distance. And Sapsui getting caught out a bit here, taking a decent amount of damage, already down to a quarter health here, and that's going to be first blood going over to King Z's Orianna. That's a huge pickup for DPI, and DPI definitely wants to get the ball rolling early game, because the late game is more favorable for CB Void. A lot of scaling there, infinite scaling on that Cho'Gath health as well too. So great start for DPI.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to get out to this early start. As I said, it's a little bit more reliant on their play for their comp. They have to actually make the good plays to be able to get ahead in this game. And they're already putting themselves on the front foot. For some reason, Sapsweet not really respecting Braum Ashe as an early combo. That's basically the worst level 1 to face. It's like you get slowed infinitely, and then if Braum actually does land the Winter's Bite, whatever it is, it just you just can't get out. So definitely, at least not burning the Summoner spell, but Sapsweet's in a bad position again.
Oh, and Sapsweet caught again, is going to be stunned up now too. Does have to burn the flash. Saystar is taking a decent amount of damage from Nicole's Varus though, so going to help make the laning phase a little bit easier. But level 2 is going to be picked up a little bit sooner here. Sapsweet's still level 1, but level 2 is picked up on Nicole's Varus. So getting out just in time, but no potions on the side of Janna, and no flash, no exhaust either, so all sums down.
Yeah,
actually, no, it was heal, actually, that Janna's running.
Not really respecting, as I said, the Ashe Braum, one of the strongest level 1s, so just getting a little bit too over-ambitious, and, Janna, without Tornado, might as well just not be a champion at this point, just indexed on the W to start the game, so going for a little bit more of the poke, but just not respecting enough here, as we're seeing some good trades here from King Z, which you do expect. Orianna outranges Victor, at least until the E-Evolve comes in, because then Victor actually has some good damage potential, and Orianna can't just walk up for the free auto. So we're going to need to see how King Z actually plays it out, since it does get a little bit more difficult for Orianna as the game continues. And at least they do have some advantage in as far as ganking power for the Poppy early on, so I'd like to see that get leveraged a little bit. Top lane's getting pretty weak here as both junglers finish their full clears. Taking some early recalls here in mid lane as well, just to be able to keep the value up, and just going to use that TP to get back in lane.
Yeah, it looks like Sloppy McFloppy getting chunked a bit here, but still feeling pretty confident. Actually started out with the Doran's Ring as well too, so really wants to start harassing this Renekton as much as possible. Doing pretty well in this lane, and obviously it gets a little bit harder for the Renekton as the game goes on. So good stuff from Sloppy McFloppy to just hold his own there. As we see, Coyote is going to be there, and we see a gank here coming out. King Z just taking some damage, but able to back off quite solidly. Sultan already down below half health, so probably can't chase too far there.
We got a bit of lag here, but looks like they are setting up for a top lane dive here on the top side on Sloppy McFloppy, so we'll have to see how that goes. I do like the gank by Jester to actually be able to just chunk out the Orianna since she did actually commit the TP, so that's just resources that you're going to lose. As we get a little bit of a cut in, we got to make sure everything gets captured here, so now you see back us, the beautiful faces, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so we'll get back things back to it once we figure out the situation there. But just want to make sure the gameplay is as clean as possible here. So looking again at the drafts too, I mean, I think overall CB Void looks pretty strong, but I'm wondering how the synergy is going to go here, right? Because you have solid front line, but the question is how much consistent damage you have, right? Especially with the poke bears. Looking into the side of DPI, they have some decently tankier, members, right? Outside of the Ashe and Orianna, you can't really easily poke out with lethality as much unless the Varus gets really far ahead here. As we go back into the scene, the Rupture is going to land onto Zog, but Coyote is here ready for flanking. Sloppy McFloppy is not aware yet. Oh, wait, taking two tower shots. Oh, and the Rupture and the flash forward as well. Pharaoh Scream just for an extra bit of flare. Coyote trying to help out his teammate, but not going to be able to do it. Sloppy McFloppy picking up a kill in a 2v1 as well. You're feeling real good about yourself if you're that Cho'Gath right there.
NFG Coyote's lucky that Sloppy McFloppy didn't smell the blood in the water, because that Poppy was also dead. The turret stacked up all the way. What a mess. Honestly, what a mess by DPI there. That should have been just the freest dive ever. Instead, it's going to result in a nice advantage here for Sloppy McFloppy in a lane that Cho'Gath should not win early on. Yeah, I feel like maybe Zognolo is just pushing the wave a little bit too hard. I think in this matchup, generally, you want the Cho'Gath to be past the midpoint of the wave. So Renekton can kind of zone out the Cho'Gath and force the Cho'Gath to use some of that very important mana pool to actually queue for minions. But now it's just looking so rough. The state of the lane is just terrible here. Sloppy McFloppy getting the Giants belt secured means that the solo kill potential is just a lot lower here. And you're seeing how much respect Zognolo is going to have to give for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, even just the mental warfare as well, too. Renekton not even stepping up for any of the CS here, as King Z and Sultan are just going to go back and forth, trying to deward each other a bit. Mid lane fairly even, although you did have that first play going to Orianna, but Sultan doing pretty good job of just staying fairly even here. As a little skirmish in the bot lane. Let's see if we get a stun up on Sapsuit. Not going to be quite it, but Sloppy McFloppy. Oh, actually Sultan flashing out from the Poppy gank here too. So Coyote trying to find some pickups here in the kills, but just not able to find any.
Yeah, but now Sultan has to play so respectfully when Orianna has the shockwave. That could just be a repeat gank angle. And here you're seeing NFG. The repeat gank is coming. The Raptor wall is not safe for Hex Flash Poppy.
Oh, it doesn't get the stun up, but still gets the kill. King Z is going to pick it up. Definitely where you want the go to be on that carry. Coyote pulling off the gank here. I mean, looking at the CS too, didn't have to give up too much CS going for all these ganks too. So, meanwhile, we got a skirmish on top lane here. I don't know how long Zog really wants to fight this Cho'Gath here. Cho'Gath does have Feast up, and the moment he starts feasting, he's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think Sloppy's in a weird spot where he wants to use Feast on cooldown, but he doesn't want to give the window for Renekton to maybe go for an all-in.
Exactly.
In case, so it's just a little bit awkward. I'd like to see Zognolo try and bait out a little bit more of the mana pool here from Sloppy McFloppy, because that's the only way this Cho'Gath's ever going to die, especially since you are running Poppy jungle a little bit more reserved damage-wise. So it's pretty interesting here. You might be able to get a freeze here, but
yeah, we see Coyote coming up here for some reinforcements. Sloppy McFloppy sees it, but it might be a little bit too late as the Dominus comes out. Rupture is going to land onto the Renekton, but it may be a little bit too late. Sloppy McFloppy is caught in a tough position. Another Rupture is going to land. Can you go for the Feast here? Not going to be the case. And Feast of Warfare is going to go over to DPI as we get Zognola picking up the kill. Definitely a necessary kill here as the fight continues on this bot side here, but I think both bot lanes are doing pretty
That was
safe.
a little ugly there. Sloppy McFloppy, I think, could have killed Coyote. I imagine he was in the range, but actually just instead clicks the Renekton. I guess just misclick maybe there. You know,
Yeah.
it is game one here, so some people might not be fully locked in and your hands might not be fully warmed up. So I get it, but that was a bit of a missed opportunity there. Really extend your advantage and get a free stack for your feast to get, you know, the ones that aren't limited are just so coveted so early on.
Definitely, definitely. A lot of pressure onto his top side, so Sabi Mafapi playing as best as he could in those situations. Meanwhile, it looks like there might be a Drake being taken on this bot side here from CB Void. Not really in position to contest. I see Poppy is going to trade Grubs for it here. We see a ward coming out, but I think this is going to be an objective for objective trade as game's going to be paused real quick. Hopefully, whatever technical issue it'll be resolved.
Yeah. I know there are storms somewhere else in the United States, so maybe that has some sort of a factor here, but we are in a bit of a pause. I will say, I think King Z actually had a solo kill angle, like literally 2 seconds ago, onto Soten, since Soten doesn't have flash yet, and King Z could just flash in and go for some autos, so I think there was definitely some potential there, but, you know, it's hard to see those angles, and you have to play a ton of Orianna to actually get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we got some pauses in these games. You know, we got some stalling. It's not, you know, it is what it is. We'll get through it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I think there's just been a lot of like interesting. Not, I wouldn't say like I'd say just misplays, not necessarily like a blunder, but just like misplays. You know, Sap Suite not respecting level 1 Ash Prom. That's something you have to do. Zognolo taking 2 turret shots and dying, and
Mhm.
then you know Sloppy McFloppy ulting the Renekton when the Poppy's in execute range. So definitely they're going back and forth here. So the game definitely is not in a place where either team should be too concerned. I will say the 1K gold lead, and I'd imagine most of that gold is in the mid lane with the 2 kills there. But Jester's here. Oh, we got the classic Riot pause frame here. They're about to go for the frame, the full play.
Oh, okay. And you can see Coyote is lurking here in case a dive is imminent, but thinking better of it is Jester, as Coyote is going to try to invade it a little bit here. Coyote, obviously, failed gank early on the top side. I wouldn't say it was his fault after Zognola took those 2 tower shots, but 2 successful ganks, both onto Sultan and Floppy and Floppy later as well. So doing a lot of work on this Poppy. Meanwhile, Jester not able to find any successful ganks yet. Just going for some jungle farm and objectives.
Yeah, I think some of the angles from Jester were good, but Soten's been taking so much of a beating earlier on in the game. It's just hard.
Oh, we get the enchanted arrow landing onto Sapsweet, and Sapsweet is probably dead. The stun is going to come through. Varus is already gone home as well here. Sapsweet trying to buy some extra time, but no, the kill is going to go over to Say Sorry on that Ashe. Meanwhile, Sloppy McFloppy going to be ganked yet again. Ruptured landing on both targets. Feral Scream is going to silence them and get Sloppy McFloppy to safety here. But a ton of pressure onto this Cho'Gath so far, and I think it makes a lot of sense too, especially when you have Ashe and Braum winning that bot lane. Don't need too much additional help there, and King Z pretty far ahead too in this mid lane as well. So just putting on additional pressure and trying to leverage every lane into a winning lane for DPI.
That's pretty good, pretty solid there. I'm surprised by how aggressive the Ashe was in that moment, just flashing forward, wants to guarantee the kill as soon as possible. But I do like the aggression there. I think honestly, Nickel could have just stayed and then saved the Janna, but it would have definitely cost some of the summoner spells. So I could see the argument not to, but you know, to save your support or to leave them, that is the question. But I think honestly that could have been just a fine 2v2 since once again Say Sorry and I Forgot Air Holes just committing everything to try and take down that Janna, and Janna still had the Monsoon to actually just be able to survive a lot of that damage. So yeah, just a little bit surprising, but I get it. You're a little bit behind. You don't really want to be risking your back timers if you are this Varus here, because it could really snowball in a bad direction.
All right, we see a gank coming up on top side. Zognola caught in a tough position. Cyclone going to come out, but Zognola is going to flash out. The Rupture is perfect, though. And we get the Pharaoh Scream. The kill it does go over to Jester, as the Feast wasn't ready just quite yet for that Cho'Gath. But I'm sure happy to get alleviated on some of that pressure on that top lane as Cho'Gath trying to finish up that Heart Seal as soon as possible and get really stacking on that health.
Yeah, Jester should be able to get the Trinity Force on the recall, so definitely contemplating it, but wants to alleviate some pressure on Soten before the recall comes in. Um, but right now, Coyote's actually up in XP, so I'd be pretty concerned if you are the Wukong, since that should be the kind of farming advantage you have in the jungle.
All right, and we
For
get the enchanted crystal arrow landing onto Nicole. Glacial Fisher lands as well. In comes Coyote with the flash engage, but unfortunately not enough to stun up. So a lot of resources spent here. Oh,
I'll
we see
dive
actually
though.
King Z almost going for this dive as well. I think Nicole is aware. They have a ward in that river as well too. Doesn't want to mess around too much here. They're going to get a lot of plate golds. But I think all things considered, not too bad given how many resources were spent on the side of DPI. Oh wait, they stuck around here, and Poppy goes for the Keeper's Justice to keep both bot laners up there. But maybe overextended. Jester is going to come through and does take out the Poppy. As we see another TP come from Sultan as well. So a lot of reinforcements here come into this bot lane. And, you know, all those ultimates are already used up from DPI, so they kind of just have to back up here.
So ugly from DPI there. I think they had for sure guaranteed kills there if they just played it a bit slower. But Varus just walks up into them and it gets taken down. So that is going to alleviate some of the blunder from before. And yeah, it is some gold over to the Wukong again. Sapsweep might also get taken down here. Gets exhausted, but Say Sorry doesn't want to overextend, knows that Jester was nearby in the area. So honestly, just extremely sloppy in the bot lane, but both sides come in away with a kill. But that does shrink the gold lead down a bunch for the side of CB Void. So now they're only sitting about 700 gold down when they were about 1.3k down just a minute ago.
Definitely. You know, one thing with Divinity League is you can always expect a lot of skirmishes no matter what, and you never know how they're gonna go here. As I will say, Nicole actually doing a great job of CSing right here too, despite not having any kills there, but just trying to keep as close to gold as possible. As we see, the first item is going to be completed on that Varus, as Ash probably going to recall as well for her item, and Sultan just stacking up here a little bit and getting as much gold as possible as Coyote is lurking here. Looks like DPI is probably going to try to contest this Drake. It's going to be interesting because a lot of the members from CB Void are also here as well. As they're going to start it up here. Jester actually goes hit on King Z. Coyote trying to buy a little bit of space. Cyclone is going to come through. Oh, and just completely whacks this Orianna out of existence here. As Coyote also goes down as well. No jungler around on the side of DPI. So this should be a pretty free Drake. Unless Ash and Braum could do something. But I don't think they're that strong. As this Wukong, I mean, you know, we're talking about how it wasn't really involved much in fights, and now it's just 4-0 so far. It's kind of snowballing pretty quickly.
Yeah, all the kills that came through before this play, sitting at 2-0, just enough to get that Trinity Force, as I said. That is a very strong power spike for the Wukong. Maybe one of the strongest points in the game besides after the second item completion. So definitely did not respect it well enough. I think the Shockwave just has to come down immediately there just to peel off, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well. So a little bit unfortunate there as you're seeing Say Sorry and Air Holes just play a bit aggressively here. But yeah, I think the Wukong's definitely going to be a bit scary. They have good peeling options for it, but it did not get executed upon in that last fight.
Yeah, I mean, Jester being ahead is definitely good for the team just because trying to hold it down until the rest of the team scales. So doing whatever they can. As you see, the Heart Seal is completed now for Sloppy McFloppy and just wants to get as big as possible here. Not sure how many stacks already on this Cho'Gath, but you can see this skirmish is going to continue through. The Dominus comes through as well, and here comes Coyote trying to go for Hero Charge. Doesn't get the stun up, but does do a little bit of damage as Jester is coming through. Sloppy McFloppy does get the rupture, flashes forward, is about to go down, and does finally go down to King Z's Orianna. As we see the reinforcement, Shockwave is going to land as well, and picking up a double kill on King Z. That's a big shutdown as well. So a lot of gold going over to the side of this Orianna. Orianna getting pretty scary as well, as that 4v2 was just not going to be enough.
Yeah,
Actually, no, it's a 3v2. Yeah, I think
yeah,
Braum
3v2.
Just in the
But
end there.
I will say, like, Cyclone is maybe one of the most important cooldowns in the game for a champion. You know, like, if Wukong doesn't have Cyclone, it is just such a different champion. So trying to commit to that fight before that's you know, very crucial ability is up just a little bit questionable and gave away a bit more gold than I think they were intending to, since Wukong did also have a bounty. So just now, King Z should be in such a commanding lead as soon as the recall actually comes through. So I'd be pretty terrified of the power of this Orianna going forward, especially because there's good protection force once the team fights do come around with the Braum and the Poppy.
Yeah, I mean that damage is so intense right now that Sultan's actually even considering, I think, going for Merc Treads instead of any magic penetration boots instead. As we see the skirmish going to keep coming through. I mean, this is going to favor the Cho'Gath more and more as the hard steel sacks are going to add it up, as well as on top of the grass stacks too. I mean, look at this damage from Cho'Gath. I mean, this is pretty scary. Honestly, Zognola is in a tough position. Oh, actually just diving there and gets the feast off as well, taking multiple tower shots, but no problem for this Cho'Gath, as this thing is going to get bigger and bigger and just going to heal up as well under lane. So, you know, a lot of pressure going over to that top side, but Sloppy and Floppy does not care at all. Wants to skirmish as much as possible and get stacked up.
Yeah, this is not going to get much easier for the Renekton, especially since Din and Dex, for a little bit more of a tanky look, went for the full Black Cleaver, going for a bit more scaling. But Black Cleaver is kind of useless in this game. There isn't that much armor on any of the members of CV Void. Nice engage here by Jester.
All right, Cyclone is going to land, and King Z's trying to try to get out of it, but the Arcane Storm and damage is too much. But we get the arrow landing onto Jester. Sultan's low as well, tries to flash away, and Jester is going to pay for their punishment there in that mid lane. And Sultan going to try to get out as low health as possible. Rift Herald is going to be summoned up here and going to take down this mid lane turret. As you see, Sloppy and Floppy going in for some reinforcements, but Cho'Gath may be big. I don't know if he can 1v3 just quite yet.
Yeah, just going to be able to eat up that Rift Herald. I believe that actually does count for a unique stack there. So definitely pretty good there for the Cho'Gath. So going to get that value out of it. They are getting flanked here on the bot side, but you're already seeing Cho'Gath kind of move down. So I don't imagine anything's going to be coming of this play, as everyone's just going to go for some nice recalls here. The dragon is spawning in 51 seconds on the bot side. It is a Cloud Drake, so maybe not the most important for either of these teams, but still nice to have nonetheless. And it gets you 1 point closer here for CB Void to be getting to that Soul. And Cloud Soul seems pretty solid here. With Cyclone and Cloud Soul, it's actually just a very potent combo. On top of that, if you are playing Varus there, you do get an easy way to follow up on any of those Chains of Corruptions that do land. So
Yeah.
definitely some good stuff either way.
And we see Sloppy and Floppy actually going to rotate over for this objective. I mean, with that feast almost up, you get kind of essentially a double smite opportunity to really secure up this objective. Oh, Jester actually getting chunked out quite a bit already, so may have to back up a little bit as the position looks pretty good for DPI. They really need this Drake because they're already down 2, and they really don't want to be against Soul Point here against CB Void. As we see, Sultan is going to be on top side. Oh, the Shockwave doing a decent amount of damage here on the call, and the Glacial Fissure is going to land onto Sap Sweet, and Heroic Charge not going to be able to get the stun up. Monsoon actually going to do a good chunk of healing as they turn it around. Coyote is going to be quite low, but Jester is actually going to be the first one to go down. You still got the Cho'Gath though, so the objective is not safe yet as Coyote goes down as well. Cho'Gath trying to charge forward here, and not enough backup just quite yet, as we get a lot of solo experience here, and gold going over to Zognola as we get I believe that's going to be first turret as well. Oh no, first turret was actually in the mid tower, so going to be feats of strength already going over to the side of DPI, as they're going to be looking for their first Drake on top of it.
Yeah, they should be able to get it here. That was actually a good play considering they were, down in numbers there, but I think it's just a little bit of, once again, a little bit of miscohesion. They go for a nice engage, they get the damage through, but the follow-up CC after the Shockwave just wasn't there to be able to secure those free 2 kills that King Z basically bundled up in a nice ribbon. So could have definitely extended this game, or this advantage, even harder, but coming away with a 2k gold lead and the feats of strength as well as in Drake, I think you got to be happy with that nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, this game
Holo in the game, get all that XP is definitely a big thing.
For sure, and has the potential for the upgraded boots down the road as well too. I mean, this game is still fairly close, right? Even with the 2k gold difference here, this Cho'Gath's going to be pretty annoying. And once this Varus gets online too, it could get scary. But It's really King Z and the Ashe that have to worry about that damage. As we see, arrow is going to land onto the Varus here. And a huge shockwave. Sapsweet goes down, and King Z picks up the double kill onto the Varus as well. This Orianna damage is starting to get really scary, and you got a pretty good front line to keep this Orianna safe as well. So looks like they're going to start rotating over to this Otacon. Do they go for it is the real question. There are two members already on the side of CB Void here to potentially contest, but this is a 2v4.
Gotta be careful though for the Otacon. Of course, it does shred your resistances. So the longer as they stay on this, if CB Void decides to commit, they could potentially look for something, but they have to find a nice engage here on King Z and kind of blow him up before anything even happens. But Sloppy McFloppy getting ulted away, nice by Coyote, just making sure there was no threat on the Otacon. So easy, secure here for DPI as they're going to extend their advantage and get that extra XP and adaptive force.
Yeah, definitely a good call there too. And we had, the air holes just throwing out Winter's Bite and just harassing the Wukong to not be able to come in from that bush as well. So really great positioning from the side of DPI. And, King Z's looking scarier and scarier by the seconds. The real question is, can CB Void scale fast enough? Because they might have the late game, but they need to get there first.
Yeah, I think just shockwaving these carries that don't really have movement is just so potent into the Victor and the Varus as well as Janna, who just maybe gets grabbed up with them. So I think, my worries about, they don't really have a good ball delivery system, I don't think matters that much. Say Sorry is going to find Jester on the backside. This is a bad position to be in.
Cyclone is going to come through. Say Sorry. It's going to try to flash out of there. Can you get out in time? No, not going to be the case. Glacial Fissure is going to land on Jester, but that's not going to do too much. As the Shockwave catches both the Varus and the Janna yet again. Monster going to heal it up here as Sultan's joining in on the fight too. This is a whole team fight as Janna goes down to King Z, but the shutdown goes over to Sloppy McFloppy, and the chase continues as Jester's going to grab air holes as well. And so far, a 3-for-1 trade. Pretty good trade so far for the side of CB Void as they're going to start evening up the gold. I mean, look at the gold difference, right? Just like 100 gold at this point.
Yeah, that was a 2K gold swap. So honestly, CB Void very happy with that play. I'm surprised DPI committed so hard to that play. You just let your AD carry go down there. It was just such a bad position for Say Sorry to be in anyways. So I'm surprised to not just see that, that kind of concession. Instead, they're going to dig themselves an even deeper hole and now find themselves down in gold because of that turret going down. Soten now getting engaged on no one else is in the area. This is a dead Victor.
All right, Hero Charge is going to land as well as the Keeper's Verdict here. Sultan trying to get away. The Sapsweet is here to try to peel a bit. This Victor is not going down very easily without a fight, as most of their damage was on that Orianna is not here, but Say Sorry is going to pick up the kill. Coyote is actually caught in a tough position, though, as Varus is going to start to try to chunk away. We get the flash forward from Sapsweet, but instantly trying to pivot back here, as you don't really want to flash into a Braum. Coyote just barely getting out of there with minimal health. And, King Z has now joined the fight as a Jester is going to be here as well. You got to be kind of careful if you're King Z because a lot of your team's damage is on you. And we saw what happened in the last fight. The moment that King Z went down and Say Sorry actually right off the bat, it was just like they couldn't even take that fight anymore.
Yeah, for sure. You always got to be careful, though, for this Orianna. That it's just so much damage. Luckily, Monsoon actually does a great job of being able to heal up after the shockwave does come through. So unless the follow-up CC is there immediately, which has been a problem for DPI, I could see CB Void really extending this game and making it favorable for these super late game scaling champions. Now Sloppy and Floppy gonna just face King Z on the side lane. I think this is the appropriate lane matchup considering how tough of a time Zognola was having early on in the game. But with Orianna on the top side, they are going to be indexing towards this Drake. Cho'Gath does have TP as well as Ori, so they will be able to join this fight. But having the advantage immediately towards that river is good here for CB Void. But they're clearing out the vision. They're getting back to position as Coyote's looking for an engage.
Hex Flash goes through, but not able to catch any members. And now walks into Jester and Sultan. Cyclone's going to come through as well. The arrow is going to land onto the Varus as the Glacial Fissure is thrown down too. Air Hose is going to be the first one going down as the Arcane Storm is starting to chew up these health bars. Coyote trying to peel for this Ashe, but both of them go down. We get a triple kill going over to Nicole's Varus here. A huge swing, and that's a 4-for-0 trade for CB Void as they're going to pick up their third Drake.
It's just once again, just the positioning isn't there. Does find a kill on the backside there with the help of the Storm Surge damage. But look, there are bounties on every member of CB Void. The gold lead has completely flopped, and they're going to leverage the fact that Sloppy McFloppy should get the feast back and just hard pivot towards this Baron. And I feel like one of the biggest things here in this game is that Coyote hasn't really, in these bigger team fights, hasn't really ulted away any members, so hasn't been able to secure the man advantage that would allow King Z to really easily walk up towards the opposing team. Now, King Z trying to look for a miracle here, but it's just so unlikely.
Yeah, and Shockwave is down as well as we get the Baron going over to side of CP Void. And they're starting to snowball a bit here as this is a game that you don't really want to go super late. And now they're ahead. They're on Soul Point as well. And they got Baron pushing down these lanes. And hopefully they can make something out of it too, as there's no other objectives coming up soon. So we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's just looking a little scary. I think they've kind of thrown away the great lead that they had before, and now they're kind of on the back foot. They could still win this game for sure. The Shockwave combo should be extremely potent, nonetheless, with the help of the Ash Arrow to set up. But if they keep taking fights on CB Void's terms, they're going to lose them. So really, it's on them to try and close out this game in a reasonable fashion. So, it's going to be pretty difficult, but you get a couple kills here with all these shutdowns, and just like that, they're probably back in the lead like it's nothing. So a lot of back and forth in this one, and I honestly cannot predict who's going to win. I think it literally who gets caught is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, the real question here is how do you take out Sloppy McFloppy? Because as this game goes later and later, like it's just the health is going to be so much, right? And it's mostly pretty much just all AD on the side of DPI outside that Orianna. But even Orianna, the health bars are going to be so intense on this Cho'Gath. It's going to be hard to just burst down. I mean, you just can't, right? At this point in time, and that front line's so scary because you just have the rest of the team of CB Void just hitting you while there's this Cho'Gath in your face.
Yeah. They are able to secure or steal away that Herald, or not Herald, the Scuttler, which does give them some nice vision and a little bit of intel there, so that should at least alleviate some pressure here. But you can see there, I think giving some good respect here by picking up that Edge of Night, just to make sure you don't get immediately one-shot comboed, but it does get taken down here. So now there's a bit of a window here, but Renekton's not here. I would like to see a TP flank play now. See Asher come through.
Keeper's Verdict going to come swing in, but only takes out Sap Sweet. At least you get rid of the Monsoon. We get the Heroic Charge onto the Varus as well, but it's only Coyote hitting the call right now. Needs more backup here. The damage just not there, and we get Coyote taken down from Sultan as well, as the rest of the team is going to start moving forward with this Arcane Storm. Sultan actually is caught decently low. Zognola going for a flank here. Can you get it? No, the Monsoon is going to push Zognola away here, trying to going for a heroic feat, but doesn't get it. Zognola goes down to Zoltan as well. Unfortunately, not a successful flank as the rest of members of DPI are just too low. Sorry, just throwing out some of these volleys actually is going to chunk Nicole quite a bit here, but you got to be careful. If you get caught here, it could be over the entire game, in fact, as we see the Cannon Minion doing a bit of work here on this turret.
I don't know why Zognola just TP'd so late. I think you just immediately commit because that was your best window back into this one. But since it's just so late, there's just no follow-up, and that's a Renekton going 1v4. I know, I've seen Renekton do some preposterous things, but this is not the 10-0 Renekton that you'd expect to see. This is a 1-5 one, so you definitely need a pivot off of your team, but they will be able to collect Sap Sweet here on the backside. Sloppy McFloppy's going to try and protect, has flash, so will just flash away and get out of there. Coyote really wants more, but Say Sorry might just die here.
Yeah, Jester is in. Cyclone is going to go through, but the rest of members have already backed at this point. This might not be the best engaged. Looking for Glacial Fissure is going to knock both members up as King Z is going to pick up that first kill here. And now Sultan's called out as well, but Sultan actually takes out air holes on the way out. But the shutdown goes over to King Z, so a bit of a gold swing going back over to DPI as there's 12 kills on this Orianna already. So maybe just taking a little bit too much time to back up there as the rest of the members were respawning for DPI. So small win for them for sure, but still a little bit behind in this game as the score is 18-18.
They do have position on this Drake, and Jester won't really be up for this as long as they burst it down quickly. Zognola is walking over, so they will have a little bit of the tankiness that they need to actually take this down. I want them to just start hitting it now. They want to get this before Jester can come up and before Sloppy McFloppy can TP back in. But it looks like they will be able to claim it up, deny the soul yet again, which is a great thing for sure. So nice secure here for DPI as yeah, they find some luck finally in this mid game to be able to take something. I will say this game is at 5 kills over a kill per minute, so we're definitely showing what Divinity has to offer here in this one.
Yeah, action packed for sure. As we see, 4 items already completed on Sloppy McFloppy's Cho'Gath. This is starting to get pretty scary here, and having a lot of resistances as well too. But Oriana also looking pretty fed too. 4 completed items as fully stacked Darksteel too, and still boots that can be upgraded. Man, what a back and forth here too. I mean, yeah, speaking about that Renekton flank from earlier, I think if you paired that with the Coyote flank,
Yeah,
that happened maybe like 15 seconds earlier, that whole fight could have gone differently. Because they both were kind of just stuck between the entire team of CB Void, but just at different times. As we see, Airhole is going to just poke out a little bit here as they're going to try to
flash
back a little bit.
Sultan.
Might just look for Sultan here. Heroic Charge is going to slow down Sultan a bit, but I don't think they have the damage to kill them.
Yeah, they got to be careful here. Enchanted Crystal needs to come down for some peel. Because Jester really could commit there, but doesn't have the flash, doesn't feel too confident in going for it. So, going to be able to walk it out. But the Baron is up, and with Braum getting chunked out here, they do have a bit of an opportunity to just hit it and force them to walk in. You always got to be careful with Poppy, though. Poppy could always knock away some of the most crucial members and then hard engage into you. So, always got to be a little careful. That's such an awkward control ward there. Oh, the placement's just slightly off. Can't see the ward on the other side, and that's just super unfortunate here for DPI. If they had no intel about the Poppy being there, I think they maybe could have been baited into a pretty poor play, but the ward's just working out in the right way. Now they're gonna walk up. They're gonna try and force Coyote out of this jungle. Gonna be able to secure the blue buff, but now kind of in a scary position.
Yeah, the rupture just not going to land here as Chester is going to go forward, but they might just start this Baron up right now. Looks like we have the Blade of Ruin King actually finish on Caesari as well, so definitely needs to be one of the factors here in helping take down this bulky Cho'Gath. Getting some of that percent health. As we see the TP coming in as well, but Oriana's not here as the fight is going to start up. The Enchanted Arrow is going to land onto the Janna, which is not too bad. You get Jester with the Keeper's Verdict knocking him away, but Zagnola's almost already dead. Oriana finally joins the fight, but the members of DPI, the front line, is already chunked a huge amount. Coyote is below half health, and Zagnola is pretty much just going to commit to splitting at this point too. I think they might have even given up on this Baron, but we'll see. King Z does have the Shockwave up, so can dish out a decent amount of damage, but the health bars on CBV are a little bit too much.
Yeah, they're trying to look for it. They're gonna knock up King Z here. 6K on the Baron. The feast is up, but he's not in the area right now, so Cody kind of has a chance to smite it.
Oh, and Coyote actually does smite the Baron and secures it here. The Shockwave doing a huge amount of damage. Gets the double kill as well. And the triple kill even here. As Sloppy McFloppy and Sultan just have to run to safety. And they did that on a 4v5. Zagnola was split pushing the entire time. Somehow they get it though. A huge shockwave on this Fed Oriana is going to get them so much value as Zagnola got a turret and going for a second already as mid inhibitor turret is going down really quickly as well. And Sloppy McFloppy's got to do something here, but the rest of the team is still respawning right now.
If I'm CVV, I'm kicking myself as Zotin maybe gets to get a kill.
Arcane Storm is going to provide a ton of damage here as the Keeper's Verdict is going to knock Sultan actually to the fountain there. Actually, maybe giving Sultan exactly what he wants here as Coyote is super low on health. But they take down both the Nexus turrets too. So still a lot of value going over to DPI. Only getting one inhibitor though. So not going to have as much lane pressure as maybe they wanted. But getting those two mid Nexus turrets down is pretty nice. They actually took that down really quickly.
Yeah, just complete full focus there from Say Sorry onto that Nexus. They're maybe pinging potentially for some sort of backdoor attempt, but I think right now they're in a decent enough position to not have to look for one of those. They didn't leave any wards for them to TP over to, so it's not going to be any shenanigans in that aspect. But the drag is coming up. This could be Soul, of course, but honestly, CBV, wow, they had such a good position on the Baron there, but I don't know why Sloppy McFloppy didn't just walk over and feast it. They gave the opportunity to Coyote to steal it there, and Coyote did take advantage of it. So, and then after that, the huge shockwave because they just didn't disperse quick enough. And yeah, I think they kind of gave up the entire game there, but we'll have to see. We've seen crazier things in this game, so I think CBV is still definitely not out of it.
Definitely, yeah. And now a 2K gold lead for DPI. So this game's been going back and forth, and now both teams are about to be on soul point. So huge plays from DPI in the last 10 minutes to really just even things up and just put things in their favor here. And, I mean, a massive, massive smite from Coyote. But even without the smite, too, I mean, that was most of the members going down from CBE as well. And, the best part was that Zognola just wasn't even there, just getting so much value in that bot lane. As they're going to try to make the most out the final bits of this Baron buff. A little under 30 seconds left here, too. I don't think they can end it here, but they're at least trying to put some pressure in this mid lane so that Zognola can potentially get this inhibitor. I don't know if they're going to be able to or not. Nicole actually walking quite a bit, pretty far up for this Varus here, as they are going to grab this first bot inhibitor. Fight goes down. Rupture lands on 2. Coyote is in trouble here. Jester going for the Cyclone, but Jester is going to give his life. Say Sorry is going to be the one to pick up that kill. Airholes is going to go down to Nicole's Varus as the Arcane Storm is starting to rain down the damage. Sloppy Floppy is actually quite low at this point, though. King Z and Say Sorry are still pretty healthy, and their damage has to be respected.
There's TP here, so they could really extend this play if they want to. It's a little concerning for the HP for the Poppy, but King Z being full HP is definitely something good. Has to make sure he doesn't get chunked.
Oh.
Wow, Sap Sweet. If Storm Surge was up there, that was just an insta-kill. Zognola was just going to go straight up to Nikai. He's going to force the flash.
Goes for the flash, but still gets stunned up. Barrier thrown up now, too. Nicole is trying to get out and does barely get down there. Zognola is going to go down as the defense holds for the side of CBV. And, man, crazy back and forth here, too, as they're going to have to walk back in, lick their wounds a bit here as they had to prepare for this next fight. But gold differential still just, I mean, at this point, under 2K now, too. Things are looking still pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, this is still anyone's game. The Baron now wearing away, so the kind of real advantage of having 2 inhibs down is not going to be felt as much here for the side of DPI, as now they're just going to go for some resets here. CBV really has to do their due diligence about pushing out this bot wave, especially. That could get lost in a lot of the skirmishes that maybe could occur in the next couple minutes. Say Sorry, definitely showing up well here. Jester can't really get too much value because, as I said, Poppy and Braum are just so good at peeling away. And with the cleanse as well, it means even something like Chains of Corruption isn't a reliable solution to actually be able to lock down some of these carries. So, yeah, if King Z keeps playing well, I could see it being in their favor for sure. But now they found Soten on a bad position.
And King Z going to try to chase this down a bit, but Sultan in trouble here. As you see all 5 members collapsing onto Sultan. I don't think Sultan's able to get out of here, as Heroic Charge is going to go through. Keeper's Verdict is going to knock him up, as well as King Z going to instantly take the kill there. Full builds Orianna, just missing the upgraded boots at this point, but that damage is scary for the carries of CBV, as they are going to try to hold off this defense here. I don't know if they could do it without the Victor here, as the arrow is going to land, but it's just going to be on Jester's clone here, so not too bad. Airhole's maybe going for a little bit of a flank angle. Let's see if it's possible or not. Going to just stop the recall.
King Z doesn't have a good... There's no way for DPI to really engage anymore. They have to wait for King Z's shockwave to come back up, but Jester's getting chunked dangerously low. King Z might just go for the full force onto it, but he's going to play a bit more reserve. Doesn't want to get caught out in a bad position with no flash. So going to play pretty respectively. Going to cancel the back. Actually, no, just lets the Cho'Gath back here. So with some of the inhibs respawning now, at least in the mid lane, so going to alleviate some pressure. But I really want to see if DPI just hard commits onto this Baron. Once again, you could get it double smite here. They do have double TP as well, but there is no vision in the area. The closest ward being in that mid lane. So they have no intel, no easy way to walk in here. They're going to get some with the blue trinket, but this is going to be a pretty pivotal Baron here, and they're just too late.
Yeah, just too late. And we have Soul coming up in about 45 seconds as well. The map pressure is just immense here for DPI. I mean, and this damage is crazy. I mean, I think their win con is King Z just picks off the carries, and then you're stuck with a Cho'Gath and maybe Wukong, and they just don't have the damage. They might take a second to take out, but without any damage back in them, they're just kind of stuck and just getting ping pong back and forth between the team of DPI. And so far, these team fights have really been going in DPI's favor here. As the gold lead is still only 2K for DPI, but it doesn't feel that way in these team fights.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the play, right? It's not really, at this point, the gold has really doesn't matter as much. It's more about what they find, and they find the first engage here. Has to force the flash from Say Sorry. Doesn't want to get caught up in the Chains of Reversion, but that's an important summoner spell right before a pivotal Drake here. That could be that soul, of course. As now King Z's also going to get chunked down. Zugnolo is kind of the biggest threat here as they are split pushing, and they are going to try and force down this Drake. I think that's probably the best move here. Coyote need to make sure you don't get caught here in this position. They're going to TP towards the bot side too. This is a pretty interesting play. As Jester looks for a little bit here. Orianna's back in the fight here. They're just going to walk forward. They want to end this game. They're pulling CBV up. They want to try and force them, kind of corral them. As now Coyote goes for the ult, just going to ult away Jester. But there isn't really a good follow-up here.
Yeah, I don't know about that Keeper's Verdict here, as Jester is going to just come back at this Nexus and defend it, but almost every inhibitor is down as the bottom inhibitor just respawned here, but they're going to start whacking at it right away. Sobbing Floppy is already below half health at this point. This Cho'Gath is not looking as tanky as it used to be. Cyclone Girl is going to come through, and Jester, they're going to full commit on the side of CBV, but I don't know if they have the damage to do, as Zognola's in everyone's face here in the backline. They have to retreat as the Glacial Fisher is going to knock up Sobbing McFloppy, and Sobbing Floppy finally does go down. King Z's going to pick up the kill, and there's just no front line left for CBV. But a shutdown on to Say Sorry is huge here, as Jester is going to pick that up. The health bars is pretty low, but you have to watch out for this Orianna damage, as Victor does get exploded there. Nicole trying to hold it down with being the only damage remaining. Sapsuite is going to go down. You do take out the Braum, but do you have the damage to take out Zognola and Coyote? No, not going to be the case, as DPI is going to take this first game.
That was a little bit stressful there with the turret ramped all the way up, able to take down Ashe in that fight. She had 1,100 HP, I swear, and just got one tapped by the stacked up turret there. So a little bit unfortunate for the side of CBV, considering they had a pretty solid lead in that game, and then it just kind of slipped away over time. But really, I think the damage stats really say the story of the game. It was Orianna v9. Well, not v9, but you know what I mean. It was really just an all-star performance out of the mid laner there of DPI, and that's going to secure them a very dicey victory. And that's the kind of morale boost and the kind of loss that you're going to have to take on the shoulder there for the side of CBV, as they definitely had a good position in that game, and I feel like it all just went wrong at that Baron.
Yeah, that Baron really, it wasn't even the first one, but that Baron just really went over to the side of DPI, and then they just, I think they just regrouped really well, right? I mean, the earlier team fights for DPI looked a little shaky here there, right? Just like funneling in one at a time into their backlines. It's just not getting too much value, but then they start playing really well as a team. Zognola kept splitting as well and putting so much map pressure, and, that final fight, I mean, that Orianna was disgusting. Victor just, I went from 100 to 0 in after one Orianna hit. So huge win for DPI. They are definitely the team that is favored to win, but that was not an easy game for them. So we'll see how they adjust for game number 2. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's time Esports Divinity League. It's DPI versus CBV. I'm Caleb Payne. I'm joined with Golden Gad here as we approach game number 2.
Welcome back in. I mean, we got some chaotic stuff in game 1, and obviously this game, expecting more of the same. I'm not gonna lie. So we'll have to see how this actually turns out. I think at the very least, DPI has put themselves in a good position, being able to take away that first victory. But I think it was pretty scary. So I think if anything, you got to be a little concerned that you might just, fold in this next one. We'll see. I mean, there's definitely some scenarios where CBV can just take this one in a heartbeat here. But now we're just going straight into draft here. Nothing too crazy. As I think we should just be getting the same kind of similar targeted bans with stuff like the Galio and Ari as well on that side, as well as Vayne, stuff like that was banned out in that previous game.
Definitely, yeah. And as you can see at the bottom here too, it is a fearless format. So any champs that were used in prior games are not eligible for the rest of the series. So as we see, 10 essentially automatic ban champs on top of the 10 bans we'll have here as well. Before we go into the draft here, we get the Vayne ban, the Jinx ban, the Galio ban, the Shen. So actually almost the same exact bans as last time. I can't remember the third of on both sides from the first time around, but
yeah.
But we'll see if we get a repeat here. Oh, we get Diana ban, which is a little different. I
think that's actually pretty much the same if I remember correctly. Diana is Jester's most played champion, so it kind of does make sense there.
Yeah. And the Syndra was banned last time. Yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty much exactly the same. I feel like that's how a lot of these go because you do your studying on the team. Well, it's not going to change game to game. It's going to be the exact same champions on both sides. So pretty, not too surprising what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, we get the first pick. Misfortune. DPI first picked Ashe last time, so first picking their ADC again this time, and we'll see how it goes. It's going to be the same side as well, so DPI is going to be on blue side yet again, and CB Void is going to be on that red side, probably aiming for that counter pick. Probably counter pick top. Trundle could always be in that top lane, but these days most likely going to be in that jungle position as we get the Lucian pickup for the ADC on the side of CB Void.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. I think Lucian's actually a pretty strong champion into MF since MF has just a generally slightly harder time in lane right now compared to before, but they're going to steal away the Emilio, which Emilio MF's actually a pretty solid lane pick since MF's base AD is just so high, and some of that upfront damage could really go hard, as well as just having the extra movement speed to be able to get away from things. Since the Trundle is locked in, you're not going to be seeing things like Scion, Ornn, Mundo, stuff like that. Just will not get locked in here. So we're seeing Xin Zhao, which did get banned in the last game. So it makes a lot of sense to just lock that up now, since a lot of the good answers are taken away. Things like Vi are still open as well, just for a little bit more engaged. But you're going to get the Lucianami into the Melio MF.
We get a Hui ban on the side of CB Void. I do like the Misfortune pickup in the sense that because Braum was already used last game, you don't have that strong counter pick support option on the side of CB Void. Obviously, Braum Lucian are a very strong lane as well too. So opting for the Lucian Nami lane instead. Also a very strong lane, but you don't have the damage negation of Braum. As we get the Fiora ban on the side of DPI, as well as Aurora on the side of CB Void. One ban left. It's going to be the Camille, so definitely targeting a lot of the top laner, expecting the Trundle to be in that jungle. But again, of course, it could be a Trundle top.
Yeah, could definitely be a Trundle top, but I wouldn't expect it at the very least. It definitely has been more of a jungle champion, as it does get confirmed there with the Mbessa. It could always go mid, but it's very unlikely at this point. So we're going to see Sloppy McFloppy came out to a good early lane phase, so actually I do like just going for a more carry potential there, but they're gonna go for the Malphite so risky into the Trundle. I think that's just terrifying. If your passive is not popped as the Malphite and you get ulted by Trundle, your resistances are going to the negative. So
yes,
definitely gotta be pretty careful here as the Malphite. You're really looking to just get a big team fight with the MF Malphite combo, but I think it's just looking kind of scary there. They're going to go for the Ahri, and it's Sylas. Sylas, obviously one of the best champions at Ahri. It arguably uses the Spirit Rush better than Ahri even does. So I'm really liking CBV's comp here into the Malphite Ahri, picking the Sylas. That should be game winning. So we'll have to see if they're actually able to close it up, or will DPI somehow squeak away with a victory here? Because last time I favored CBV and they couldn't win it in the draft, but you know, DPI still made good use of it, so we'll have to see. The Sylas has to get shut down extremely hard by the Ahri early game if you want to have a good chance in this one.
Yeah, I really like that Silas pickup too, especially into the Malphite as well, right? Silas with Malphite ultimate is super scary. I mean, honestly, really great ultimates to steal almost all across the board on DPI side. So great Silas pickup. Let's see if Sultan has the skills to wield it well. But I have to agree with you that the draft looks a lot stronger on the side of CBV, but it did on last game too, but DPI just finding ways there. King Z was definitely, hard carrying the team in game number 1. Let's see if he could do it on the Ahri or not, but may have a slightly harder time in this one.
Ahri is King Z's most played, so, there is a chance here for sure to actually be able to take up that one. But Silas just seems so insane. I mean, there was this old Reddit post back in the day where it was like, what's the highest champion in each role? Win rate wise, and it was Silas in 3 different roles when they're playing against Malphite.
Yeah. I remember Riot August, one of the devs at Riot, actually even talked about how it should be an instant win if there's Silas into Malphite. As we get a little cheese here on this bot lane, Nicole and Sapsy trying to do some damage, not doing too much here, but we'll see if the stats are true or not as this game goes on. But Silas into Malphite, Silas into Alistar, always great pickups.
Of course. And Bessa could definitely also be a pretty scary champion here. Malphite does win this matchup pretty hard, since Mbessa kind of just has very bad trade windows, and Malphite's really good at chasing down champions that have very short trade windows here. As Jester's just going to look to try and equalize the wave now. If Sloppy McFloppy hits 2, this should be just a free kill on the Malphite.
All right, and Zognolo also is pretty much out of mana at this point too. Can you get away from here? You're going to have to probably go for a flash at some point. Pillar already dropped here. Zognolo maybe just recognizing that, you know what, I'm pretty much dead, so I'm going to just save the flash and just TP back in the lane as we get the first blood going over to Sloppy McFloppy.
Yeah, classic Trundle level 2 with the Pillar. Always a very potent gank there, since the Pillar does slow for, I believe, like 85%, so you're not really getting out of there unless you insta-flash, and then there's a chance that even then you might get chased down. So Zognolo just going to take the death as it is. Soten getting forced down pretty low here. This is Ahri's window. Pre-level 6, Silas is much weaker in lane. You have to really exploit that if you are going to be able to take this one away. And since you do have that mid lane advantage, Coyote could just go for this, but Jester has the extra longsword in the inventory, and the bot lane's moving first.
We get the collapse from Sapsweet and Nicole there too, but Airholes is not too far away. However, the Misfortune is just going to stay in this bot lane. Coyote going to flash out, trying to stay alive, and just barely able to do so. So a lot of resources spent on trying to kill the Xin Zhao, but unfortunately not able to, as a lot of farm went over to that Misfortune in the time being, and just has the wave crashing into the turret soon.
Yeah, they're just trying to guarantee that Jester stays in this game very effectively. They're going to be able to get away that Scuttle as well, but now kind of in a bad position. Say sorry. Has to be careful. Pillar coming down.
All right, trying to run away from here, but almost no mana left on this Misfortune as well. Does force the flash out from Misfortune, though. Both summoners burn Ghost and Flash, getting a lot of value there, as meanwhile, all 4 sums on the bot lane for CBV is still intact. So going to be a pretty tough situation there for Misfortune in the next laning phase.
Yeah, MF's not going to have the easiest time at all against the Lucian. At least that's the plan for the most part. Soten does take a lot of damage here, has to burn the flash early on, so that's definitely an exploitable lane here, but Xin Zhao not really known to gank that well, so it's going to have to be pretty much reliant on King Z landing some good setup CC. The wards here are here in the jungle, so going to be able to spot out that Xin Zhao as he walks across mid lane here, so I'm just going to go for the recall here, get a nice reset since he is watching the Xin Zhao reset, so knows that you won't get kind of instantly ganked again as soon as you TB back, so you prevent a lot of the shenanigans that could occur in mid here. As, yeah, it's just pretty much a pretty stable game at this point. Very different than the first game where it was a lot of fist fighting early on.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
definitely, I'd say a much more stable game, and if anything, CBV much would rather have that kind of game in this one.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely good on Jester to gank this top lane early too, because now you got the level advantage on the Mbessa, you got the CS advantage as well too, and this laning phase, even though supposed to be more favorable for Zognolo, is a little bit harder now too. Just gonna have to catch a wave under turret. As you see, Jester already posturing up top again, but the the vision is going to spot him out there. As the pressure is on for CBV, they really want to force a game number 3 here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they are the one that are lower in the standings, but you know, talking about playing spoiler definitely still feels great. So gonna have to have a good showing in this one. Soten's gonna take a pretty good trade here. Silas obviously always has a lot of HP regen throughout the laning phase and as well with the Doran shield, so should be just fine to heal back up. So nice trade there to at least set up something. Kingsley has the ult advantage here, so I'm gonna expect him to try and go in on a fight here while before the Silas actually hits level 6, if he thinks so. But no, Soten's gonna get off the first minion, so that play is probably gonna get called off here since once again, Silas is more powerful of a champion with the Spirit Rush than Ahri is, so unless Ahri hits a nice charm there to kind of deny a lot of the damage, it could be very much so in Silas's favor. Xin Zhao here, expecting some sort of play in mid. I'm surprised King Z's not playing a little bit more aggressively, just to try and bait something, but
Oh,
it still goes in.
all right, the charm lands as well, and Xin Zhao is in tier 2. Sultan has nowhere to go as King Z is going to pick up the kill with the assist from Coyote. I was expecting maybe could have grabbed the Crescent Guard in time, but I think just didn't have enough, just constantly knocked up and stunned there. And the charm landing was really what set things off here, as looking like Coyote and King Z starting to rotate towards this bottom lane here, maybe just trying to secure up this first Drake, as Airholes is kind of caught. Pillar is going to land as well as they preserve this control ward. Jester is in the area, but I don't know if they could win this 3v4. However, Sultan is starting to rotate over towards this Drake. It's taking them a while to take this down, and I think this could spell disaster for them if they just keep getting chunked here, as Coyote is really low and finally goes down to Nicole here. Meanwhile, Sultan chases down and claims the feat of warfare as well, getting some revenge onto that Xin Zhao, and looks like CBV is going to pick up that first Drake and dashing out that charm too.
Yeah, not respecting the respawn timer for Soten there, just going in a little bit aggressively, and when your MF kind of has no mana, that champion is pretty much useless, so just gotta show a little bit more restraint there. I don't think that was your dragon to be able to just freely take, since your damage is pretty low at this point in the game, so yeah, just gonna be a little bit more of a rough look here for DPIs. A nice charm under turret, Soten gonna get punished hard. I think this is just a solo kill.
Oh! Yes, and the Foxfire is going to clean that up for King Z. So grabbing up a kill, they're getting a little too greedy, and some really good charms landed from King Z so far in this game. And here's the thing, right? I don't think King Z backed since that first kill, so now has two kills worth of gold here, as Zognolo goes for a kill here on Sloppy McFloppy. Sloppy McFloppy just going to keep dashing out. Does have to burn the flash, but is going to get to safety, as Jester and Sapsweet, though, is going to collapse. The pillar is there, and here comes the public execution, as Sapsweet actually is going to be the one to take the kill. A little unfortunate the gold's going over to the Nami, but a kill is a kill, as CBV is unrelenting on the pressure, and they're going to try to pick up the grubs as well. So another objective going over to them, and they're closing out feats of strength already.
I'm so surprised Coyote just didn't just snap flash onto the Sloppy McFloppy while he was ulted up by Zognolo. Just a little bit uncoordinated there. Is going to let Sloppy McFloppy, survive, and then they're in such a bad position since they tried to go for the extra chase that they do get chased down by Jester and Sapsweet there, or Zoten. So I mean, it's just pretty rough. I think it's weird. I think DPI's in not that bad of a position since the Ahri's actually beating the Silas at this point. But you still got to be a little scared since you really need to come out to a good lead, and the Xin Zhao hasn't really been finding the early game advantage you'd expect over a Trundle. So yeah, it's just a little bit scary if I am sitting here as DPI.
Yeah, King Z doing a really good job of just dodging a lot of the moves from the sides. As we see a little skirmish on this top lane here too. I mean, it's going to be really hard to kill this Malphite despite the level and CS advantage on the side of Sloppy McFloppy, and that's kind of just Malphite for you, just able to soak up a lot of that damage here. Could be even just maxing out the defensive stats here too on this Malphite to make laning even harder. Bot lane though, the CS differential is pretty favorable for this MF. One kill over to the side of Nicaldo is going to kind of even up some of the gold differential a bit. But really, though, the main winning lane here is really this top lane for Sloppy McFloppy. But this Malphite's just so annoying to deal with.
Zognolo doesn't recognize there that he can actually just go in hard since Sloppy McFloppy actually committed the Q2 towards him. So actually, I think that was just a pretty easy solo kill, if anything, with the help of the ultimate there that just came back up. So just a little bit of a missed opportunity there since it was a pretty big misplay from Sloppy McFloppy.
Yeah, it looks like Zognolo is also going with the Grass Rune, so not the Arcane Comet one, which is definitely more with that poke harass. So, but just wants to get as bulky as possible. It looks like Sloppy McFloppy is back here in lane with the Eclipse already finished as well.
Yeah, now you can't fight anymore. You missed
Yeah.
one opportunity you had there when Sloppy McFloppy went forward, but now it's just going to be pretty doomed, at least for a little bit, until you do end up getting a lot more armor. So yeah, you're seeing there already. It's looking a lot more difficult here for Zognolo.
Yeah, damage really adding up, and this Mbessa can be pretty scary for really the rest of DPI's team too. Just a lot of damage there, and solo damage. Oh, as we see the bullet time come through, Sapsui taking a lot of it, but just not enough damage yet, as we don't have a completed item on this MF quite yet, but just doing some harass as we see Coyote going for a flank here. I don't know if he kills Sloppy McFloppy, especially at this point too. We see the ultimate come through, and here comes the public execution trying to take out Zognolo, but unfortunately not able to, spacing back a bit here as Coyote is going to try to go for a chase here. Flash is not up yet for Sloppy McFloppy, but I don't know if he had the damage to kill the Mbessa yet. I think it might just be enough here, and does get the shutdown. It is going to go over to Coyote, and Zognolo's got to be careful here too. Just one solo minion might be able to take him out. A lot of work though for the Mbessa, but it does pay off.
Yeah, they are able to actually pick up that kill since there is the fruits there. Gonna be able to heal up just a little bit there. Say Sapsweet just in a terrible position, but not gonna get punished that hard. They are respecting the fact that Jester could be here. I'm not sure if they spotted him on a ward here. They are playing very reserved. They don't want to be getting caught out since they are playing weak side since the top play happened. So at least I like the respect here from DPI's bot lane. I think they definitely know something is up, and they're playing accordingly. So Sapsweet, though, playing very aggressively. That's very dangerous.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is almost going to go down. The pillar is going to buy a little bit of time here, but now Coyote's here too. I mean, Jester just pretty much sitting in that bush for maybe the past minute or two, so not really getting much value at all in that moment. Let's see, the top lane skirmish is going to continue, but second Drake is spawned up at this point in time too. DPI is going to be here to potentially contest it. As you see, Ari is also in the area too. I actually can't even tell from the minimap. I believe so. And looks like it's going to be a lot of damage going over to Jester. Jester's going to try to have to get out of here. Say sorry, just frontlining for the team somehow. And the Nami is going to kill the Misfortune with the ultimate. Sultan finds an opening now here too with the Crescent Guard stolen, but a Crescent Guard also being used from Coyote as Sultan does go down. But we get a double kill over, and King Z's going crazy on this Ari, going to chase down Sweet Sap, or Sap Sweet, I should say, and a huge swing going over the side of DPI. Mbessa might be winning top lane, but it's not looking good for the rest of the map, as that's a 4-for-1.
So much damage. The Malignance did get completed there for Ari, so the extra damage just from the pool being there definitely playing a huge factor there. It looked pretty disastrous there with Saysari just walking straight into the Nami Lucian, actually flashing forward into it, thinking it had a ton of damage, but still it works out nonetheless because of the stall from the Zen Zhao as well as just some good damage from the Ari. So once again, King Z coming out to a great lead here and a ton of gold. And I mean, if the last game is any indication, it should be a pretty good one.
The bubble is going to land, and Say Sorry is in trouble. Takes down Sapsweep in the process, but Lucian is going to pick up the kill afterward. Probably not the best trade for Say Sorry, but just going for some damage to try to maybe go a limit test a bit here. Coyote is going to respect the Trundle looming in the area, but I mean, King Z was the story of game 1. And it looks like he wants to be the story of game 2 here, as this Ari is looking already pretty fed. We do have the Rocket Belt finish on this Silas, but this Ari is already pretty strong. If you don't catch her in the perfect position, it could be tough. Coyote might be getting sandwiched here too, as Sultan does get charmed up. TP coming through, and Mbessa is joining in on the fight here. Let's see how she's going to go, and if she's going to ult anyone. King Z is going to charm up the Mbessa. The Nami ultimate doesn't land, so a lot of resources committed already. Zognolo is now here. Coyote does go down though, so that's a pretty big pickup, as they could now contest this Rift Herald. Oh, and here comes the Malphite ultimate going in, but the other ultimate coming in from the public execution just barely not enough for King Z to be taken down. Zagnolo does get taken down though. And with the culling helping with a lot of that damage, Sultan is going to be the one to pick up that kill. Looks like CBV is going to be rotating over to grab up this Rift Herald. Not easy to contest for the side of DPIs. They're going to let that go. Say sorry on meanwhile, just farming a bot lane by himself.
Very surprising to see that Malphite ult come through. I'm not gonna lie, it completely got me off guard. But I could kind of get the idea. But without Spirit Rush on the Ahri, it just seems a little bit futile there. Nice cancel on the back there for King Z. That's gonna be pretty beneficial here for the tempo on the map for CBV. But in the meantime, Say Sorry just pushing out on the bot side. Might get caught out here by Sota. Needs to dodge this E.
Not going to do it as well. Slow down a little bit, but I don't think this is going to be enough. Bullet time comes through, but he's just going to dash right past it as an easy solo kill over to Sultan. But first turret is going to go over to CB Void as they are going to pick up the feats of strength, I believe, too, because they have the feats of warfare and the first turret now. So that is going to go over to them. Coyote is going to farm up the red buff here, but there's a lot of members of CB Void lurking on their bottom side jungle.
Yeah, they're kind of just setting up in this area. They want to take down this turret with the help of the Rift Herald, it looks like, and really open up the map and kind of free someone to be able to do whatever they want on this bot side. So definitely a pretty good look here. They might even be able to get a secondary charge here, but with Ahri coming in the area, I'd be a little bit more careful. They do spot her out going towards this bot lane, so I think they'll show the due respect that King Z deserves and just back off.
Yeah, still lurking a little bit. That ward is going to spot that Lucian in that bush here too, so can't really do too much. And so we're going to clear up some of this vision here. I mean, I think Sultan obviously, maybe a little bit behind the Ahri, but has 4 kills to his name as well, so not that far behind. And this, obviously, Silas has a lot of value in the mid to late game as well. So it's definitely not as one-sided, I think, in the mid lane matchup as the first game. But King Z just going to continue to just build up as much damage as possible here. As Malphite's still trying to finish that first item.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking very interesting here. Nice charm onto Soten. I don't think Ahri ult is available for him, so he's just going to go for a full back off here. Xin Zhao also in the area, going to get spotted out. So just going to have to back off all the way off the turret here, as now it's going to be a nice turret on the bot side here for DPI to take. Zagnolo and Slappy McFloppy, obviously it's going to be still Mbessa favored. The Malphite still has yet to complete an item, just a lot of random components in the inventory, so just a little bit behind the curve that you'd expect for this Malphite, which is definitely a scary thing considering the Trundle, but a nice engage here.
We get the flash forward. Crescent Guard's going to come through, but Bullet Time actually catches Sap Sweet here as Jester is starting to chomp down onto Coyote, but the double kill goes over to the MF instead. Jester being down is huge, and now you see Sultan trying to do something here. 1v3 does pick up the kill onto King Z, going crazy here, and now getting a triple kill. Sultan going for even more. I mean, it's just Emilio, so you can even take this out. Emilio's got to have the run here. What a crazy heroic play from Sultan, but finding the win condition somehow.
And Silas into Ahri, that's exactly what you're worried about. The Spirit Rush is just so effective in Silas's hands. Having now access to 5 dashes without any resets is just an insane number to have to deal with, as well as any flashes that could potentially come through. So it's looking pretty good here for CBV. I'm not sure if they're going... I mean, I'd be surprised if they lose this game from this point. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, a great start, obviously, for King Z as well, but this lane phase is over, and you got the Cosmic Drive finish now on this Silas in level 12 raid. Looking pretty scary here, as they're going to pick up the second Drake in all likelihood, unless King Z does something crazy on a snipe here. So that's going to be second Drake to them, and a little bit over 1k gold differential here, but it's really the late game that's going to be a problem here, as Nicole actually gets completely picked off by Coyote as well, going for interesting positioning, not trying to take the scenic route to lane and going to be paying for it as the pillars can come down. Jester going for some. Oh, public execution comes through, and Coyote gets completely caught here, does go down. Sultan now chasing air holes and trying to get some more, does pick up another kill, and now he's godlike trying to chase down King Z, and all this damage, no problem for the Silas is going to be able to heal up with that Kingslayer pretty quickly here, and there's just not enough damage, I think, to kill the Silas is the problem.
Yeah, I I mean, you really need your MF to really be online at this point, and I'm not sure if she's strong enough. She does have 2 items, which is a pretty solid mark for this particular minute, but it just hasn't seemed that comfortable of a pick here for Say Sorry compared to the last game on the Ash. So I'm just a little bit worried for their damage going forward. The Autocon's just going to be pretty free here for the side of CBV, and they're going to extend their lead just a little bit. I mean, they're only up about 400 gold, but it feels a lot worse than that just because of how effective these champions are into the opposing 5.
Yeah, I'm not even sure where the gold is on the side of DPI because the math's not really adding up for me. But yeah, you can see that the Misfortune actually does have quite a bit, right? Splitting a lot of the splitting on her own a lot in that bot lane earlier and getting a lot of value there too. I mean, still having 4 kills to her name, so that's still something here. But yeah, things are not looking great though for DPI in the long run here too. As not only do they have feats of strength on CB Void's side, but they're 2 Drakes already, and yeah, looking for some even more tier 2. I mean, the real question is how do you win these team fights, right? Because Misfortune, yeah, if you land a great bowl time, that's fine, but there's so many ways to get around that bowl time, and there's so many things to interrupt it as well on the side of CBV.
And Silas hasn't even picked a Malphite ult once. I think
that's
really
right,
the scariest part is that we haven't even seen Silas with Unstoppable Force. Like it's going to be disgusting, especially if this Silas is able to hit that 3 item mark, which you very soon will. Already seeing with the Cosmic Drive and the Proto Belt. So I mean, yeah, I mean they would have to be a miracle for DPI to take this one.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. As yeah, I mean, really making great use of that 5th and final counter pick from the side of CBV, opting for that red side just for this pick, and I think it was a perfect pick, honestly, into this composition. And just so happens that Sultan knows how to play Silas quite well, as they're looking for a turret on this top side here, and I think they're going to get it pretty handily here, as King Z is starting to rotate a little bit over.
I mean, they're able to move around the map just a little bit, but also it's looking kind of scary for Coyote. Did get spotted out earlier. Sloppy McFloppy wants to look for a play on him. So Sap Sweep, but I think both teams kind of want a fight here, which is kind of surprising. But with the Silas not on the map currently, it's just a little bit scary. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know DPI's angle. I think it's legit just ult, Malphite, ult the Silas, and pray that you're able to kill him.
Yeah, you're going to have to burst them down 100-0 real quick before the healing starts coming through. As Sloppy McFloppy is going to start chasing down Zognolo. You don't want to get chunked too much. Oh, and here comes the Unstoppable Force is going to be picked up from the Silas. But no mana and below half health at this point in time too. Trying to do something here as he still picks up a kill. But we finally get the shutdown. Coyote gets it, and now this might be the opening they need. But there's just still too much health here as the chase continues. Coyote trying to do whatever he can here and does get the solo kill, or the kill onto Lucian. Oh, and grabs another kill as well. Gets a triple actually onto the Nami. Jester is going to pick up a double kill. It's a really scrappy fight on both sides. 4 for 4. Blood everywhere on the Rift here. I mean, that was kind of chaotic, but the best part for DPI was that Sultan did not have enough mana to really make use of that Malphite ultimate or really do much. I think he picked up a kill with Proto Belt, actually, of all things, but that was about it before he went down. So, I mean, timing-wise, I think the fight was definitely more on DPI side.
Yeah, I mean, that was as good of a fight as you possibly could have gotten, I think, for DPI, and it still wasn't a full, blowout victory. Soten still finding a good damage there to be able to, even up a little bit. And then on top of that, Nikai is pretty much safe because a lot of the resources have to be burned to take down the Silas and Mbessa. So it's just looking so difficult. And, once again, we haven't even seen, Jester ult the Malphite. We don't know what that Trundle will look like with all those resistances in his pocket. So I don't know. It just seems so tough of a game. And since they're both on the map at the same time and they don't really have like a split push advantage, I don't know what DPI is going to do here. They are going to be TPing over. They would just want to keep fighting. Unfortunately, all the ults are back up for CBV. So this is going to be another full team fight, fist fight, 5v5.
Yeah, they're called a little bit behind the rest of the team, but I think should be able to get in position pretty well. Yeah, watch out for a Charm. The Charm's going to come on to Sap Sweep. Instantly gets blown up. The culling hits absolutely no one here. So a really great pickoff. Now going to be a 5v4. It is just a Nami, but still well played by the side of DPI. And looks like CBV is going to respect that. They don't want to give away their lead just yet. So not going to be so point for them as these fourth Drake is going to go over to the side of DPI. Really great pick off there too. Great charm from King Z to set it up and just the instant burst down. I gotta say, Coyote's doing a ton of damage in these fights as well too, right? 2 completed items, looking for a third quite soon. 6, 6, and 8 on the Xin Zhao, so the damage has to be respected.
Yeah, I think they just need to keep looking for fights where Silas just isn't in a good position to be able to actually kind of secure it. That was a good pick off, but I think CBV legitimately could have just walked up forward anyways and still been fine, but they decided to respect, which I think is okay. You're not really on that big of a clock here for the Drakes. Soten is trying to go for a flank here. They're playing towards the bot side. And I think Unstoppable Force must be back up, so Soden's just going to go and grab that up. And now you got to be worried. If your carries don't have flashes, that is a free engage. Luckily, Say Sorry does, so maybe it could try and bait out some sort of engage here, but Soten's looking for it.
Yeah, King Z's flashes down as well there too, and there's a lot of dashes that, and with the rocket belt as well. Oh, Sultan looking for it, but King Z is going to grab the charm buff. Sultan does not mind that at all. However, misses some of the abilities. Unstoppable Force is going to go down, but the bullet time is so well placed as Sultan goes down to Coyote. There goes a lot of their damage, and now a double kill going over to the side of Coyote as well, picking off the Lucian. A lot of their damage now missing here, as you can see DPI trying to chase down Coyote, just going for it here too. Doesn't even care. 1v3, no big deal. Dodges the bubble as well, and now CBV has to run to safety. Man, they're fighting some really good fights on the side of DPI.
Yeah, it was all off the back of King Z dodging away from a lot of the damage of Soten and kind of baiting him in. And then the bullet time comes over just to do enough damage to take him down. And that's the kind of scenario where, you know, DPI can win. They just need to find a pick onto the Silas. I know that's hard. It seems so unlikely, but if they could repeat that strength there, they'll have a good opportunity here. Jester now walking up, gets charmed. This could be a kill.
It's yep, and Jester's going to have to limp away a bit here too. Going to be hard to contest this. I think they still have vision though of this Baron Pit now, so they have a good idea of this, and it's taking a little bit too long to take down. They're starting to get collapsed. Bubble is going to land onto Coyote. Sultan's here as well, trying to look for something, but may get called out here too. Looks like stole the bullet time, but it went absolutely in the wrong direction. Nami also going to land onto air holes, and as well as Coyote. Coyote's going to try to run at this point in time too. Pulls the Crescent Guard to buy a little bit of time here, but gets chomped down from Jester. Jester also about to get blown up here from Say Sorry. Does finally go down, but the Mbessa ults in the back line here and does go on a killing spree, take down King Z, and another kill going over Sapsu is going to be the one to pick it up here too. But CBV finding a team fight here and a victory in a crucial moment.
I mean, that was almost a big misplay there from Soten. Gonna get bullet times. Oh, it gets taken down. Say Sorry able to neutralize a little bit of that lead that they had in that play. Soten just barely, you know, lurks away, and then gets taken down at the backside. But they're still going to get away with a turret and maybe another one in the top side. So it's still looking good gold-wise here for CBV. But it is definitely not as clean as it definitely could have been, because I think Spirit Rush definitely was available to get stolen there. And I think it would have been an extremely dominant fight here for CBV if that did actually come through.
Yeah, and Say Sorry is starting to come really online right now with this lethality misfortune. I mean, not a lot of really true, pretty much just no true tanks on the side of CBV, so this damage is going to go a long way here. And, you know, if you play around this misfortune well, then you're going to get a lot there. I was surprised the misfortune actually didn't drop the bullet time in that fight, but maybe it wasn't up yet, or maybe it just wasn't at that fight in time. But was enough to at least pick up the kill onto Sultan, as Baron is still up, so might be contested again here, as the gold differential now going more over the side of CBV, but it is still pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an awkward position. I mean, I don't know. Was there a thought of just going the Nami just to get more follow-up CC on the Malphite instead of this Melio? I think maybe there is, because you just don't have good CC across the board. Besides that, for the MF setup, you know, classically there's like MF Renata, right? That's a very good combo, since you're able to layer that so effectively, and there's good peel on the side, similarly to Melio for the MF. So I don't know. I think there could have been some better opportunities in draft, but when they committed to Malphite Ahri in you know, B4 B5, and then they didn't ban away the Silas, I think they sealed their own fate. So, you know, well, but they're making a good showing of it nonetheless. So DPI definitely playing it out, and now Sloppy McFloppy, I think he's just going to go down.
Yeah, getting collapsed on here too. Unstoppable Force is going to knock up Slime and Floppy. Actually goes for the
Oh,
flash
TP.
here. Tries to go TP here. Does
Oh,
it
no
and
way.
finally gets out there too. What a huge call. And now that might be Baron for the side of CB Void. I mean, as all the members were collapsing onto Mbessa, what a great read fight from them. And they have the damage to take this out really quickly. So I think DPI is just going to settle for a Drake instead, knowing that they've already lost so much at this point in time too. They have to get something in this time being. They're going to be on Soul Point, but they have Baron coming down onto their base now. I mean, it's good that they actually picked up the Drake, so CB Void can't really do much except for push and try to grab some turrets in the process, but I think DPI is going to be ready for the defense.
I was so confused by that flash, and I think if Xin Zhao just perfectly auto-canceled, it still would have been neutralized there on that play. But, you know, that execution is not easy to get the full Titanic Hydra reset on the auto and stuff like that, just to be able to secure, make sure Soten, or not Soten, Sloppy McFloppy actually gets CC'd before the TP comes through. But, yeah, just a little bit too slow there, and that's just going to mean a super positive play here for CBV. And now you're, you know, we talked about miracles, but this is
Oh,
just even more difficult a position.
Oh, yeah, King Z talking about positioning in a bad position and forced to dash out there as Coyotes forced to drop the Crescent Guard as well. Now defending this turret might be a little bit hard here as we get the Unstoppable Force stolen on the Silas again here too. Can you go for the dive under turret is the real question. I mean, you have all 5 members here trying to grab this. I see the TP coming over now from King Z. Doesn't want to waste any time here too, as now going to be back on full health. If you can land a good charm, that would be nice, but unfortunately just missing on the Trundle here. They got about a minute 30 left on this Baron buff. They're going to have to try to push a wave in a different lane, but not making a lot of use out of it so far.
Yeah, they're just completely out of it. You have to have your Spirit Rush and the Crescent Guard to actually make good use out of these fights, and they need to find a pick somewhere on the map. I think King Z is looking for it, but not going to be able to land it, so a little bit difficult of a look there.
All right, let's see if we can pull off the defense here or not. It's going to be a 4v4 here as the 2 top laners are skirmishing in that bot lane. But again, just not able to get enough value here. The wave clear is just a little bit too strong onto the side of the DPI here. It looks like they're going to try to collapse onto this mouth fight. Unstoppable Force is going to knock him up. The Culling is going to do a decent amount of damage, but met by the bullet time, which doesn't end up hitting anyone here. Oh, and in comes Unstoppable Force from Silas. Sultan, though, still gets blown up. Just way too far ahead of the rest of the team. Sloppy McFloppy gets shut down as well from King Z. These are huge pickups for the side of DPI, and they pull off a successful defense here, even with Baron beating down on their doors. CB Void, I mean, they pick up 1 tier 2 turret, but that's about it. And, you know, that shutdown on the Bessa going over to the Ari is definitely going to be favorable for the side of DPI, as they're going to just continue to defend here. They might even go for a collapse. 4 members already looming here. Ari looking to join as well. Can Coyote go for this is a real question. I mean, potentially if there's enough backup, but I think they're going to pull off here. And, you know, this Baron, again, just not getting enough value for the side of CB Void. They do have a gold lead, though, about a little over 1K, but that gold difference is pretty negligible at this point.
The I think they just got a little overconfident as soon as they subjugated the Malphite to actually just kind of shut it down. They thought, okay, now is our window. The Malphite's chunked down, but they kind of underestimated how much healing and shielding the Melio actually provides. Just keeping them alive through all of that burst damage was just extremely uncalled for, I think, in the minds of CBV, and it nets them a good victory for DPI to keep themselves in this one. Already about to take over to level 16. Which is definitely a good thing considering King Z is a lot of their damage. Could maybe look for a kill here on Sap Sweep, but just the charm's going to get blocked out by Jester. And Sloppy McFloppy might look for the public execution here, but
Oh,
maybe
you got to be
thinking about
careful.
it. Yeah.
It's not worth it just for the mana here, King Z. As we can see, Jester looking on the hunt as well. 4 members here too, throwing some bubbles in these bushes. But I think King Z is going to be able to get out to safety so far. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Right, the Melio healing was pretty intense here, and there's no grievous wounds on the side of CB Void at the moment in time too. So if they just keep this up and don't get any anti-heal, this Melio can really be a problem here, as CB Void just could not kill any members of DPI in that fight.
Yeah, Zognolo's just walking forward, does not care, but that is a Trundle with ult. You got to be a little careful of just getting completely 100 to 0'd when you're not expecting it. But they're just not going to go for the full commit there. I think they maybe could have, to be honest, but, you know, it is still scary considering how many people are in the area there. King Z not able to land it, but wants to go for the fight.
Oh,
Forces
and we
the
get the
flash.
flash out. Yeah. But it's going to be the unstoppable force taken yet again for Silas here. Let's see if we get a better engage. I mean, the gauge was fine, but he's just a little bit too far up and taking. I think he took a couple of turret shots in that last fight too. On top of it, and Zognolo just what a chat, just walk around, doesn't care at all. As we get the charm onto Jester, but Jester's going to be just fine so far. As we get the Drake spawn up here too, this is going to be soul for the side of DPI if they can get it. But Coyote on the other side of the river here, not with the team, maybe trying to go for a flank, but I don't know about this play so far here too, as Zognola is going to tank a lot of this damage so far. I mean, still pretty healthy. Unstoppable Force is going to be used to engage here, met with the combo from Nami's wave as well, and King Z's now in trouble trying to get out of there, is out of dashes, and it's going to be a double kill. Coyote completely on the other side of the map, not able to help his team at all.
Yeah, just gonna look to maybe cut the wave here, make it so they can't get a turret as well as the dragon, but getting forced away by the bot lane here might just favor a fight into the two members here.
Yeah, Crescent Guard is going to come through here and just going to try to 1v2. I think he gets it. He does take out the Lucian, tries to go for Sap Suite, knowing that he is not long for this world. Sultan is going to grab the kill, but a small pickup there. I mean, wasn't going to get the Drake either way. So both teams now on 3 Drakes apiece, just like last game even. Last game, I don't think it went all the way to Soul, but this is so much valuable for CBV now. Now they get the Baron on top of it.
I think maybe DPI just has to go for it. They have double TP here to actually try and enter. They're putting some pings over. I think there's maybe a chance here with the bullet time maybe potentially coming through, but they're too scared to pull the trigger. They don't want to do it. They just don't have the intel.
Controller's going to spot
the Edge of Night.
Oh, and bullet time is going to come through. Oh, you get the shutdown onto Sultan. That's huge. Oh, wait, and you killed the Mbessa. The Baron does go over to the side of CBV, but they take a triple kill so far. They're going to run down this Trundle. Going to slow down Trundle as much as possible. Trundle forced to burn Flash as well. I think Trundle might be the only one with Baron buff. I'm not sure if the Lucian spawned in time or not, but still really valuable pickup from DPI. I mean, just kind of a solo performance from the Misfortune, and she was spotted, right, with the control ward, but I think they just didn't respect the damage.
Yeah, they weren't expecting as much damage. They thought maybe they could burst down, but once again, they didn't think about the Edge of Night. Just nullifying the initial CC was just enough to be able to get the damage through on the side of DPI, and that's a huge victory there to take away 4 out of 5 Barons there. Only the Trundle has it at this point, as now Nikai is just going to be forced to ult the turret, but it's not going to matter that much. I think they just bought themselves another couple minutes here, as Jester's now going to try and chase down Zongolo without using the ult. It's not going to be much of a play, but I mean, now it's looking a little bit more scary because the Silas hasn't really been performing perfectly here. I feel like he just needs to index into Spirit Rush because somebody else can handle the engaging, so we'll have to see if he actually does make that adaptation or not, instead of going for the full engage here. King Z maybe looking for a burst play on a Nikai, but just going to get called off there. Yeah, just good map movements here from DPI. I think this is generally what puts them at that 3-2 mark. They just look a little bit more coherent across the map, even if, you know, CBV has pretty even team fighting skill across the board. So it's getting dicey for sure, though.
Look at the gold too, exactly even across the board, just less than 100, probably 100 gold difference at this point in time too, just depending on who's taking what minions on the map. But yeah, I mean, this game is back and forth, just like the first one too. However, you don't have a crazy stacked Orianna this game. We do have the Zionist completed up for the side, so maybe having a little more sustain. But yeah, I mean, you know, you're thinking, yeah, Unstoppable Force on side is fantastic, but he's just dying way too quickly in these fights, right? Already 8 deaths on the Silas. I mean, it's pretty much being used as a main engage, but you could engage with the public execution. The Nami tidal wave can be a great way to start fights off too, but it seems like every time Sultan just goes in, after initial engage, just kind of instantly blows up.
Yeah, Coyote's looking for a bit of a play here. Gonna get spotted out on a ward here. I don't think he knew.
Oh! The bullet time, though, is going to push some members back. The culling is going to do a little bit of damage as well. Neither ultimates from the ADC is going to do that much here. As we see the TP from Zognolo trying to find the perfect engage here. Sloppy McFloppy also looking for the public execution, but met with the unstoppable force on the Malphite. Going to get King Z to safety for now. Lucian getting chunked a huge amount. Jester trying to find something here. And you see Zoltan doing whatever he can to get a lot of this damage off, but just not enough damage as Coyote's able to chunk it down. But we get a double kill over, and this is going to be a team wipe here, and looks like DPI is going to go down. Jester picking up the double kill, and they're going to be aced. 2 members still remaining on the side of CB Void, but still pretty much a bloodbath on both ends.
Yeah, that timers are so long though, so Jester should be able to claim up the turret and maybe the inhibitor on top of it. I mean, this Trundle's very difficult to kill. I will say Sorry did a great job of just pumping out the damage to be able to take down the Silas and the Mbessa before going down, but just not enough. The healing, the shielding, the raw damage of the Trundle just coming through and making this a pretty good advantage here with inhibitor coming down, and then on top of that, the Drake spawning in just 40 seconds. I think CBV should be in a really good position as long as neither of these members get picked off before this Drake.
Yeah, another 40-plus minute banger from these 2 teams in this game. Slight gold advantage for CB Void at this moment in time, but we gotta look at the Drake timer. 20 seconds until Soul spawns for both teams. You know, this will be the next biggest fight here too, as every member is trying to grab whatever final items they can here. I mean, almost full build on across the board at this point in time too. Misfortune already full build. So definitely, I mean, you know, the bullet time unfortunately being used to try to peel Coyote to safety, but just not used in as well of a place as possible. Definitely looking to potentially change that for this fight, as we see Jester starting to chomp away at this Drake. Oh, looking for a collapse here. Zognolo a little bit caught out there too. It's just Coyote behind. You don't have the damage yet. Unstoppable Force is going to come through, and here comes the bullet time, but the public execution catches the Misfortune. A huge play from Sloppy McFloppy as Sultan does go down. Coyote's doing a ton of damage in this fight, but Air Holes is going to go down as well. And the call, this Lucian is untouched, and they're going to be in such a good position to grab this. Coyote still has a lot of health though, and so does King Z. I don't know if they could do a 2v4 here. It is going to be a mountainous task for the 2 of them, and I think the problem is if they die here, this could be the end of the game, as the Nami bubble is going to land. Coyote is chunked at this point in time too, and he is going to go down. He doesn't have the ultimate to spare. King Z, he has to run to safety now too. You have to defend against 4 members, and this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, the mid lane wave is massive. Has to go back now. If the back gets stopped, that would be the end of the game. But is able to actually make that happen. MF should come up, so I'd be a bit scared here for CBV in case they actually do try and overcommit. They're trying to go for the end here. King Z has to deal with the wave. The subjugate does come down. There is 0 resistances on this Ahri. Nice dodge away, but the execution comes through.
It's going to be Ace. Misfortune up is up. Can you do enough damage is the real question here. No, not going to be it. And so second game is going to go over to CBV on the backs of that final fight. Huge public execution from Sloppy McFloppy to cut off all that damage from the bullet time. And, the rest of the team from DPI was just a little too split in that fight.
I mean, they did their best in that game. I'm not going to lie. DPI, I think the draft is just too tough to actually execute once that Silas comes in. So a great call there from the side of CBB, but they made it close nonetheless. Some of these bullet times, some of these Spirit Rush, and some of, just the power of the Xin Zhao it came through, should have put them in a great position if it wasn't for just a mountain that they had to climb just to be able to stay in this one. And eventually the floodgates open with Mbessa doing 47,000 damage in that one. So definitely a great performance there for that champion. And the side of CBV, they stay alive in the series. They're going to game 3. And now the pools are going to be a bit pinched, but they've already showed some nice adaptation nonetheless.
That's right. I mean, they might be the underdogs, but they don't look like the underdogs, especially after that game. So we'll be back with game 3 after this short break.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the old well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Welcome back, everyone, to Titan Esports Divinity League. We are on the eve of game number 3 for DPI versus CBV. I'm Caleb Pang. I'm joined by Golden Gad, and we had two back-to-back 40-plus minute bangers, maybe even over 50 minutes on some of those.
Yeah, they were both over 40 minutes, although I feel like that last one should have been over a lot earlier, but unfortunately, it kind of went back and forth a lot, but it seems like they just like taking Barons, because I think we're at 5 Barons in 2 games.
Yeah.
So honestly, we've definitely had to go through the ringer a couple times in this one. But CVB able to come out with a victory after losing game 1, so that at least a bit of stabilizing, especially considering that I feel like game 1 might have been a slightly tilting loss since they were in a pretty good position and then it all kind of went wrong at one position. But DPI also has been playing pretty well. King Z especially, I feel like, has really shown the chops to kind of keep up with the best in the league for sure. So definitely all eyes on him to kind of take this through. But I feel like the last draft was just so rough. Picking Ari Malphite, B4, B5, and then leaving up the Silas that's the freest Silas game ever. And then the other pieces weren't strong enough to kind of make up that difference. So we'll have to see. I mean, now I believe they're switching sides, so DPI should have that last pick to be able to actually counter pick. So they should have a very good, game ahead of them, but we'll have to see. I mean, I feel like it really came down to the draft in the last one.
Yeah, I mean, really showing the potency of that counter pick last fifth pick on the side of CBV there too. A lot of teams, used to opt for going blue side, but I think a lot of days these days it's red side actually has a lot of value with those counter picks. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think part of it is, especially in Divinity League, a lot of people banning just high mastery stuff and just completely forgot about the Silas as maybe even an option after the Malphite was picked up. I'm sure, on the side DPI thinking, oh yeah, Malphite looks real good into top lane and best lane. We should be fine. And then the Silas gets locked in and, kind of game over. Maybe took a little longer than it should have, but the win rate for Silas into Malphite looking still pretty strong in favor of Silas here. For those that are joining us as well, this is a fearless draft. So all 20 champions that are picked in the first 2 games are off the table on top of an additional 10 champions in the standard ban phase. So we're going to dig deep into this game number 3, game 3 and final game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, we won't have to see similar draft scenarios at all, which is nice. Since I felt like it really did come down to that. I'm curious about the 80 carry pools for both of these 80 carries, since it hasn't seemed too solid for either. I mean, they picked the Lucian, they picked the MF in the last one. Now your pool's getting kind of pinched. There's stuff like Jin left, stuff like Corki that you could potentially lean on, but. Now it's like, okay, we're kind of getting at the weirder 80 carries. The Vayne's probably going to stay banned and stuff like that. So I'm curious if anyone has anything spicy, especially since first pick is now afforded over to CBV. And generally, you pick a strong 80 carry in first pick right now or one of the premier mid laners such as Talia. But I don't think I've seen Talia in either of these mid lane players' pools. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that one also still slip through going into this next game.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen a Vayne and Jinx being banned on both sides here, so some minimal targeting of ADC because usually both teams are picking up their ADCs pretty quickly here too. So going to have to see. I mean, still a lot of meta picks around, and definitely a lot of options still. But we'll see how these players adjust to that too. Overall, I do like kind of how the drafts have been looking for CB Void side. They have, I feel like they had strong drafts in both games, but the execution of DPI has looked really strong in both games as well. I think in the end of that second game, those back-to-back Drake fights, a little bit split, but I do think that they had the potential to even win those games too if they played out those fights a little bit better. So we are going to go into the drafts here. CB Void is going to be starting on blue side. They're going to have the first ban and first pickup. Have to get a Jinx banned out just like last time, and I'm sure we'll see a Vayne and Galio probably banned on the side of DPI if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, I think the strongest picks currently still available are stuff like Sion in the top lane. I think that champion should be very well suited for this, as well as Gwen. Gwen obviously a great answer into Sion if that does get locked in, but those are two picks that really come to mind as some of the strongest picks on the patch that haven't really been touched or even thought of at all, since we've generally been seeing Fiora, Camille as the two bans on the other side, just targeting a little bit more of the champion pool there. We're seeing a bit of a swap up here. The Sivir going to be the ban instead of the Vayne, so leaving up the Vayne, saying, I dare you to pick Vayne here, since it is one of your more prevalent champions here. So I think it could potentially just be that, since, as I said, the AD carry pool is looking a little bit more pinched. But that leaves the question, what is your counter pick into Vayne, since the Ashe is gone? But just going to lock in the Jhin instead. One of those strong AD carries I talked about, maybe the strongest of the ones that are left available. There's things like Senna as well you could play into Jhin pretty comfortably, so I think that's potentially something they could look at. And, but it's going to be Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And Caitlyn also has been looking really good at MSI if you've been watching. So
yeah.
I think it's actually definitely a good call here and should have the lane dominance into the Jhin that you'd want to see.
Yeah, I do like that pickup from with Caitlyn as well too. Ooh, and we get a Swain pickup as well. Probably a support Swain, but you never know. This could definitely be on that mid side as well too. My guess is that it's probably not a mid Swain with the Galio ban, right? Because Swain into Galio is actually not that bad for Swain at all. So likely going to be a support Swain as we get the Seraphine picked up onto the side of CB Void. So a lot of range in this bot lane for CB Void, but plenty of range from that Caitlyn. And we get the Pantheon pickup. I like this pick a lot too. Pantheon looking really strong in, I mean, a lot of lanes these days, but particularly in the jungle. That damage and utility from Pantheon is just so strong right now. We get the Nocturne though going to be picked up too. So going to be likely diving that Jhin whenever he's able to. All right, sorry about the technical difficulties here. Slight Discord issue. But we're into game, and we do have the Gwen pickup, and it's into our Urgot.
That's
as we
a
round
good
out.
matchup for Urgot. That is a good matchup for Urgot.
Yeah.
So I think that should be pretty solid here for some Zognolo. You have to feel pretty good about that one. We did see the Yone get locked in, and the Mel as well. So I think that should be Yone favored. Makes a lot of sense there, but you know, you do have generally a lot of shorter range champions into something like a Swain, so you got to feel a little bit more scared of that pick. I'm surprised they didn't end up flexing it towards mid. or at least saving mid last pick in case they do move the Swain over towards mid, because that is a extremely good matchup for Swain into the Yone. But they just locked in the Mel, so not going to be anything too crazy. I mean, there's even the thought that you flex the Mel into support because it's a good pairing into Caitlyn. So I think there's definitely some interesting draft angles there, but they are going to land on the picks that they did end up choosing here. This matchup's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Swain into the Jhin Seraphine for sure. One thing to note, obviously, is that the scaling on the side of CBV is so insane with the Gwen, the Yone, as well as the Seraphine. Seraphine, if you haven't seen this champion that much, since it isn't that prevalent, especially in pro play, basically this champion is one of the hardest scaling champions in the game. Once you get really late game, the Ws are insane once they're empowered. So generally, you got to be pretty careful about going super late. Actually, one tidbit is I used to play Seraphine mid into Kassadin mid if I ever see it, because Seraphine legitimately outscales Kassadin. So definitely some considerations to be had that I think DPI really needs to push their advantage with using this Caitlyn and this Urgot on both of their side lanes to really take advantage of this game.
Yeah, DPI had the counter pick here. Urgot was their 5th pick, if I'm not mistaken,
believe
right?
so.
Yeah, so I do think the Gwen pickup is kind of nice there. You get some of that magic damage that you're missing on the rest of your team, and on top of that as well too. I mean that the health on this Swain can be pretty scary late, but with Gwen, that's not going to be an issue. You do have triple melee though on the side. Oh, as we get a nice flourish there onto the Caitlyn. A lot of damage going back over though to Sapsuite here. But King Z is going to be chased down a bit here. The longer these trades go though, the longer then it's not going to be too bad for this Mel as the fights are going back and forth here. And we see Jester actually flashing in here for the first blood. Going to be air holes that's going to be dying on that Swain. But there's action on every single lane right now.
Yeah, definitely trying to keep up here. Nice flash play there from Jester, just trying to bait him in. I will say, if Say Sorry hits either of those Qs in those trades, I think they just take down the Seraphine without much of a sweat. So pretty fortunate there for Sapsuite to not have to burn any summoner spells and get away with a kill on this bot side. So nice early start here for CBV, which is kind of how the trend has been. They have been pretty solid in finding these early ganks, but then they kind of let it slip a little bit once a little bit more team coordination occurs. As a Coyote's here in the area against Soten, and he doesn't know.
Yeah, he has to burn the flash. Already spent the Eve there to harass some of the damage on the King Z. So going to be a good position for King Z for this lane here. Kind of already behind a bit on CS though, so not going to be the biggest of deals here. As this bottom lane is going to continue with the CS as well too. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, team wise, you think that CBV has a better composition here? Because I think in some ways, I think DPI's also got a pretty solid team composition too.
I think I generally favor DPI's, but I mean Pantheon really is a difference maker. If he gets out to a really early lead, I think it could be pretty difficult for DPI to kind of out sustain through all this pressure.
So and we see Airhole's going to be rooted up here too. Swain, especially support Swain, does not have a ton of health and is kind of weak in the early game. And you definitely start getting more online after level 6, but especially into this double range lane, it's going to be pretty annoying to play the Swain if you don't get a good grab onto anyone.
Yeah, but come mid to late game where the Swain is, the main thing is you don't want to have all of your champions be melee into Swain. That's generally when he gets the most value, but so once you get towards these team fights, if they're able to try and hard dive with the Urgot Nocturne, with some support from the artillery fire from either King Z and Cesar, and really pressure out these ranged carries, the Swain should be pretty happy with all the scenarios he finds himself in. So I think it's a pretty nice call draft-wise for DPI, and it's now just coming down to execution. And I think both these teams shouldn't be that upset with either of their drafts here.
All right, we're going to see how this continues. Swain is going to back up here, and Cesar is actually going to use the net to get out, but that's going to be on cooldown, so it's going to be a little bit easier to lock down Cesar for the next couple seconds here. But as you see, both mid laner actually skirmishing quite a bit. I mean, I think this one is going to be an interesting one. Mel's mobility is not the best, but if you don't catch Mel in any of your abilities for Yone, the damage really adds up from Mel. So it's pretty annoying because Mel's range is also pretty scary far. Yeah. Oh, and we get rooted up here.
I know the joke is always that Mel's Q is literally undodgeable, so you know,
It is when I play against Mel, so I can concur on that statement.
yeah, so you know, generally they should have some pretty good consistent damage throughout this. Nice flip here from Zognolo. This is huge. This could actually be just the Gwen going down, but not getting the
Oh,
shotgun knees to be able to find it.
going to get rooted up on Sultan though in this mid lane, and you can see Coyote going for a flank as well. They have vision, so Sultan's going to be trying to run here. We see Pantheon coming down though for the flank as well. Can Pantheon buy some space? Both are just level 5 for these junglers here. Yone caught in tough position, but we get the solo kill on Sloppy McFloppy there. Fear Beyond Death is going to pick up that kill for the Urgots. And surprisingly, no deaths in this mid to bot lane after a lot of chasing back and forth from both teams.
Yeah, but Yone gonna lose the wave here in the mid lane, so it's still gonna be a pretty big advantage here for the side of DPI. And with the kill going on the top side, I said this is a hard match for Gwen since generally she sits at pretty low HP. So, you know,
Oh,
pretty
we're going to
easy
get the grab.
execute there.
Yeah. And we can see Swain just trying to do what he can to get a little bit beefier for the lane here. Say sorry. Oh, actually good cancel of the recall there on Sap Sweep. And I think they're going to just try to crash this wave as soon as possible there. No easy way to collect this wave on the side of CB Void.
I would have liked the Swain to just go there and try and cancel again because it would have been so insane. And Swain has a global ability, so well, pseudo global ability. So you pretty much just need to have vision on her, and then you could cancel the back again, which would have been terrible for Sap Sweet's tempo. You know, it wouldn't have done too much since there's no Drake immediately, but it does prevent the Seraphine from joining.
Oh, here comes the paranoia. Yep, but Yone
Aw.
is going to just dash out to safety here. So looking for a pick, but Yone is not the easiest target to kill there. Surprised maybe wasn't spent on the Jin, but maybe just positioning of the Nocturne, just not able to find that. Top lane though, this is looking pretty tough for the Gwen. CS already on this side of Zognolo, but also on top of that, just already has a kill as well to his name here. As this Gwen's just trying to do whatever she can here. And this damage is really adding up against Sultan's Yone as well. Like, just this range is so hard to deal with. And if you just get hit by Mel too much, the Executes are going to just take you out.
Yeah, I think I don't think Coyote realized that Yone's Q3 was up. I think that definitely changes the
Yeah.
play for sure. And now they're gonna find themselves at the grubs. Not gonna be able to spite it away, but Jester should go get taken down here.
Oh!
Nice
Fear Beyond
fever.
Death actually misses though, I believe, but Jester still goes down. Sultan's going to try to get out here as soon as possible. It does have to burn the flash. The Golden Eclipse not enough to take out and do the damage. Flashes forward for a Q, but just doesn't actually get the damage necessary. I don't know if that was worth it from King Z here. Zognolo, though, is going to continue to put some pressure on this top lane. Sultan is going to have to base, but I think Sultan, all things considered, got out pretty luckily here as the first two objectives do go over to the side of CB Void.
Cancel the back, trying to look for a play onto Zognolo, but I don't think you're gonna get much out of it on the top side.
Oh!
Hold
Bait
that thought.
sealed.
There was a Pantheon.
Yeah, and the Pantheon was there as well there too. I actually missed the Pantheon at first. The kill does go over to Sloppy McFloppy, so definitely a much needed kill to help try to even out the state of that top lane. Bot lane is just going to be a kind of a farm fest for both AD carries. Both just want to scale as fast as they can here. Not a lot of tanks. Well, actually no. I mean there's the Swain actually, and the Urgot's kind of annoying to deal with for the Jin. But I was just going to say I think Jin's damage is still going to go pretty far into the rest of the team for DPI.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. This is a pretty close game. I don't think anyone's come out to a really good lead. Yes, CBV has both of the neutral objectives so far, so they can kind of lean on those with the grubs and the dragon as well. But no one's really coming out to a big lead. Coyote does have paranoia again, so we'll be able to look for a play. But there's kind of no one in the area unless they try and look for another play onto Soten, who does not have ult, so should be pretty easy to take down, especially since the E was committed. So if Soten decides to go forward after this E does get canceled, I could see it being pretty disastrous here, but going to show the due respect here as Coyote goes for a recall here. Kind of interesting considering it's not a full item completion. It is just that brutalizer. So not getting too much benefit on that side here. Zognolo is going for a big trade here. You're seeing how difficult it is for Gwen to actually be able to take this Urgot down because Gwen has to get kind of close to be able to Q, and that's the perfect range for the flip to come through. And if you've ever played against Urgot, if you get flipped, you are in a bad position. So It's just a very difficult matchup that Sloppy McFloppy's going to have to deal with for the rest of this game.
Oh, we get a flash forward and the never move. In comes the Swain. Oh, right on top of the Yordle snap trap as well. And now the Jhin is exhausted. Coyote taking a lot of tower shots though, but you get the double kill going over to the side to say sorry. 2 more turret shots landing onto air holes, but still very, very valuable here. Jester though, looking for a kill. Can you get it onto Coyote? Oh, the spear is going to land, but not enough damage quite yet. So Feats of Warfare is going to go over to the side of DPI.
I have no idea how Coyote did not spell shield that. That's terrifying. If Pantheon just has one more longsword, that is just an insta-kill. So pretty fortunate to be able to survive that one here for Coyote. The Drake is up, but with the plays happening on the bot side, it just means both AD carries have to reset. The HP pool is just not strong enough. So still going to be a little bit of a neutral trade here, and I'm curious who actually goes and tries to focus down this Drake, but Nocturne's on this top side. No, going to go walk towards that bot side. King Z does have the TP to be able to even it up, but you know, I think it's still a pretty scary position to be if you are CBV going for this drag fight. They're going to try and start it up here. They have the initial push since the recalls from Say Sorry obviously took a little bit of time as they were trying to help Coyote with Jester, but now they're going for the Drake, about half HP. No one really in the area. This should be free.
Yeah, Swain ultimate is down, and that's actually going to be the monster slaying feat going over to the side of CB Void as well, getting all the grubs plus 2 Drakes as well. Too. That's really going to accelerate their game and you know, set them really close, really fast on the track of that Dragon Soul already. So not the best for DPI, I feel like, because they really want to, you know, stall this game as long as possible. Their champs scale really well, right? With the Caitlyn, the Swain, Urgot gets pretty scary late as well too, but CB Void's not going to have any of that. So we're going to pick up those first 3 objectives. Looking to see who's going to grab with the first turret. It looks like this Urgot, though, is really going to push the agenda on that part.
Yeah, they're able to just kind of chill out there. The Paranoia did get committed, though, so that is a pretty big cooldown there to burn. So10 and King Z just fighting it out. The Mel's surprisingly tanky against this Yone, so still looking pretty good. Gets a nice root here, so that's some good damage. Golden Clips is up, so gotta be pretty careful now. The damage could really come through quickly.
Here it comes too. Fate Seal being used, but not enough as Golden Eclipse was already being casted. And nice solo kill over to King Z. King Z's been playing really well in the entire series. But a 2-0 lead over this Yone to start is definitely something you'll love to see. I mean, I think something I commend King Z on is, especially that last game Ari into the Silas, is just really able to dodge a lot of the abilities from the enemy mid laners. And just, even though certain matchups that might be kind of tough, it's not too bad if they can't land their skills.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're seeing a little bit of pressure swap towards the top side. Nocturne on that top side, trying to look for the Rift Herald when it does come up. But just going to be farming it up. It looks like both teams going for resets on the bot side as well. So this could be a pretty big fight here for Rift Herald, as both the 80 carries probably will stick around. But with air holes canceling the back, I think this might just be a concede on the objective. I'm not too sure exactly what's going on there. Zognola just making sure to trade through. Getting some HP off of these important members could be pretty good here. Coyote's just sitting in this bush. I wonder if he spotted Sap Sweet there. If he didn't, this could be pretty scary for the Nocturne here. Could really get baited in as they're just waiting. They're just waiting. They're just waiting. They're just trying to find some sort of angle here onto Coyote.
The root does not land as Coyote is going to try to look a little bit here. Probably has seen Sapsuya at this point, but hasn't seen Jester on this Pantheon. Do you get baited in here? In comes the Pantheon. The Spell Shield is going to get him to safety here for now. Solar Snare is not going to land, but it's going to slow up. And now comes the Paranoia here. And the Golden Eclipse, I don't think was even used. Oh, it was used, but just not enough damage here. As Jester does go down on the Pantheon. And this is where Air Holes is going to shine. Melee champs do not want to be fighting this Swain, even support Swain, in close proximity at this health range. Interesting enough, Coyote went for Axiom Arc instead of Experimental Hexplate, which I feel like is kind of the standard item for Nocturne if you want to speed up that ultimate ability.
Just finding the kill on the mid lane too here for King Z. So, I mean, this is just looking all DPI. There really hasn't been much. I do think I don't mind the Axiom Arc here because you're not going Stridebreaker first, and you kind of just want the pressure to be able to take down the Jhin so that Swain kind of deal with the rest of the players. So I don't mind it. I just think you got to be more careful here as the Nocturne, but they're playing pretty well as far as baiting utility for this Nocturne to actually be able to dive. So I think they're in a pretty good spot here. I would. It seems like he's just going to go full lethality, full 100 to 0 burst. When, that is just more of a risky build option compared to the Hex Plate into any other item. So, yeah, pretty surprised to see that actually
Yeah.
come through.
I guess I don't hate it either because in the sense that if you go kind of a more bruiser build, skirmishing build, you don't really want to long trade with a Gwen, Yone, or Pantheon, right? So even as a Nocturne, so maybe just going for, like you said, just going for just full damage here, just try to take out the Jhin, maybe the Seraphine, or even if you could burst down a Yone before he could do much, might be more valuable here. This Caitlyn is looking pretty far ahead. Curtain Call is coming through though, as Jester going for a flank as well. The Grand Starfall comes in, but they're not getting any value here yet. Swain is being taken out though, but that's just the support for the time being, as Sultan has joined in on the fight as well. We get a TP in from Zognolo though, kind of caught in a tough position at the moment by himself. Rest of the team is coming in. Paranoia comes out as well, and the Fear Beyond Death takes out Jester. That's going to be a valuable pick-off here. Meanwhile, though, Sloppy McFloppy is going to get a lot of value on this top side here. We get the counter TP as well, actually, from, I believe it's going to be the Mel. So, going to match this. Great macro from the side of DPI to not really give anything in the process while still being able to grab up this Drake.
Yeah, that is a very good sequence here from DPI. They lost the initial pick there, but they did make Jester commit flash for that play, and he appropriately got punished immediately after with a nice TP from Zognolo. So at least a little bit better coordination compared to game one, where I feel like, DPI wasn't the most coordinated as far as finding these TP angles that they could definitely leverage there. So I like to see this kind of improvement if throughout just the series alone. So yeah, good shout out there.
Right, and we have a Blade the Ruin King actually built on the Yone as the first item, but the gold differential gap in the mid lane is looking pretty strong right now. Yone is just going to be swapping over to his bot lane though, so going to be facing off against Zognolo, which probably is going to help Sloppy McFloppy a bit. However, this Mel is pretty fed at this point in time too, so that poke damage is still going to do a lot, especially for into a melee champ. It's going to be much easier to land a lot of these hits. Zognolo though looking pretty strong right now. Can't really contest very easily if you're Sultan on the Yone.
Yeah, for sure. Look at Zognolo just running down Soten. I mean, that is a disgusting at this point.
Paranoia comes through, and the Jhin is in trouble. Jhin does go down. We have the Swain as well, and in their faces, no one dies on the side of DPI. We get a double kill for them, and they get the first turret as well. That's going to be feats of strength going over to the side of DPI. Yes, the early objectives did go over to CB Void, but that was about the only good thing that went over for them here too, as we see the gold differential starting to look pretty nasty already in this early game. 6k in difference in under 20 minutes is not what you want to be dealing with if you're CB Void.
Yeah, it's looking really good here for DPI. I mean, the Urgot's pretty much uncontested. The Nocturne is making plays across the map. Caitlyn has successfully made it out of lane with an IE collector. I mean, you're in the strongest point you're gonna be, and the game just feels like it's just starting. This is pretty scary for CBV. Yes, they have the scaling, but I don't even think they're gonna get there at this point. They need to find some sort of isolated play either onto this Urgot and really be careful about it, or they need to find something on this Caitlyn, if I had to guess. But it's just looked so difficult since they're winning across the map on all of their lanes, all including the jungle. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to find some sort of nice coordinated play to be able to get back into this game.
We got the 4-0 Mel as well with almost 10 CS per minute on top of that too, and she's just side laning and comfortably. In comes the Paranoia yet again, and Jhin is going to be caught out. Does go down again to the Caitlyn. Jester's in trouble as well, and doesn't even get Coyote in the process. Another 2 kills going over to the side of CB Void. Things are starting to look from grim to even worse for the side of CB Void as they look to grab up another turret. They have the Rift Herald dropped as well, so this is definitely going to go over to the side here. Let's see if they get any additional value or not. I mean, they don't even have a lot of wave clear potential here right now. Meanwhile, Zognolo is going to be fighting Sloppy McFloppy, and Sloppy McFloppy actually going to take that trade pretty well for the time being here. Oh, and actually flashes forward and gets a shutdown onto Zognolo, maybe underestimating some of the power of this Gwen. Gwen is still something to be fearful of, as 2 items are completed on her as well. So definitely something to watch out for. This is not the same Gwen that was there when he left lane earlier.
Yeah, definitely a little stronger, but also just didn't have the fear beyond death since he did commit it in the last game in the last team fight there. So definitely makes a big difference in the isolated 1v1 against Gwen since she does sit pretty low on HP and you need that extra execute damage. So yeah, just taking advantage of that little lull in cooldowns there. Able to get a solo kill in an unlikely place, and that puts them in a much better position now. Sloppy McFloppy's able to push out this wave, get all this gold, crash in a wave. It's looking a lot better on the top side, but Zognola wants the chase, has the ult to actually be able to do it.
Hollow Mist is going to be dropped here too, of negating some of this damage, and I don't think Zargnol is going to be able to fully chase down this Gwen in time, so it does get out to safety quite well. We see the opportunity finish onto Coyote. Man, this is not going to be... It's not been a fun game for Nicole and this Jhin, and is going to be less fun by every second as this Nocturne just continuing to target down this Jhin. But it works so well because there's just no way you could get out in time, and, you know, I mean... even if you see a Nocturnal coming, what can you really do as a Jhin?
Yeah, you're seeing some good setup here on the Drake already. Some nice deep wards. They do have a bit of a blind spot here on the bot side, but you're seeing how Caitlyn is just making that line. You know, Jester could walk through it with the help of the Eve, but it gets committed here just to be able to survive some of the poke from King Z. And they're forcing them away, 9,000 HP on the Otacon. They're in a decent position, but just no way to actually contest this, so this will go down, and they could just chain this directly into the Drake, because there's no split push threat from the Gwen here. They have as much timer as they'd like to be able to take these down.
Yeah, this is really tough too. I mean, not only is the rest of the team just not at this objective as well, they're just so behind on levels and gold that they just need to farm up here at this point in time and try to stall out before, you know, a soul is reached. Luckily, it's only 2 Drakes apiece on both teams, but the problem is the side of DPI is not going to get any easier to deal with, as they are going to scale pretty hard here too. The damage from all members are actually quite a lot here, and the Swain just hard to deal with in general, just in your face and just ulting. And I mean, 3 melee champs into Swain just not going to be a fun time in general.
For sure. So they got some ground to make up here. But they are able to at least secure the turret on the top side here. But Zognolo should be able to claim up a kill in response. But Jester's here to try and contest afterwards. So Zognolo has to be a bit careful. Dodges away from one of those.
Yeah, we see the needlework come through, as well as the Nocturne is going to ult the mid lane here, and it's going to be Nicole being chased down yet again from this Nocturne. You see the flash forward, and the Golden Eclipse is there, as King Z is going to just save it and take out the Jhin. And meanwhile, Sloppy McFloppy is going to get out to safety, so is Zognolo, so nothing actually really happened in that top lane. But just again, just this Jhin and Seraphine just are caught out in tough positions constantly, and they just can't do much. And the moment you take out their 2 range champs, what's stopping the Swain, let alone the rest of the team, right, on the side of DPI?
Yeah, for sure. You know, and there they just say, okay, we'll trade mid tier 2 for a bit of damage from Soten on the bot side, and you know, all this gold is going the favor of DPI still. You know, they don't have all the objectives at this point, but it's looking pretty solid. The Baron now spawning, and with the gold they have in their pocket, they could actually definitely look for a big opportunity here. Soten now going to go Q forward, finds both, but gotta be a bit careful.
Yeah, we see the Paranoia come through as well. Golden Eclipse is not going to be enough to actually take down the Yone, but maybe just enough to harass him and push him back a bit here. I mean, Sultan, I mean, I think if he was super fed and ahead, that might be a different story, but a level behind the Mel, and, you know, definitely a bit behind on the items as well here too. Say sorry is going to get rooted up, but oh my gosh, look at that Caitlyn damage. 3 full items at this point in time too. Zognola actually losing the 1v1 against the Gwen at this point in time too. Yeah, you might have the fear beyond death, but you need to get the Gwen into that health range first, as Jester is going to just get kited down here from the Caitlyn and the Swain. You got the Rylai's finished up on the Swain as well, so there's no running away from the Caitlyn even if you want to. And this game is looking scary hard for CB Void. I mean, it was hard already, but just getting harder. 8-0 and 2 Caitlyn. with 232 CS, 3 completed items, and still more gold to their name that hasn't been spent yet. Fate Seal is going to come through. Say sorry, might be in tough position, and Soten does get the shutdown, but Coyote is here, and they pick up 2 for their attempts at taking out the Caitlyn. So I think still a pretty solid trade for DPI. That's going to be a lot of gold going over to the side of Yone, though, but they might lose Baron on top of it afterward.
I mean, this is just looking so dire. I think they do at least have Sloppy McFloppy, who looks pretty solid, but it's not exactly the easiest game here for him either. As you're seeing him get chunked out just a little bit. Zognola might actually just go down here. This is a little bit aggressive there. Has to burn the flash. And they're forced off the Baron. Too much damage was taken from the side of DPI. So a nice, finally it feels like a positive play here for CBV. Just straight up, no downside at all. So looking good for them, but the position is just going to get reset. They can't really extend that advantage that they just got from the tempo here. They're just going to get their free resets and call it a day.
I like the play a lot from Sultan onto Say Sorry. Like, yeah, he ended up dying for it, but I think that's the only way you can win this game, right? Is you need to dive Say Sorry, take her out with either the Yone or the Pantheon, right? Just dive her completely, maybe even the Gwen if you're in the right position, and then you can start the team fight from there. Yeah, the Swain's going to be annoying, but that's a much smaller problem than the Caitlyn just free firing from the backlines. But at the end of the day, Nicole's probably going to get killed from the Nocturne in almost every team fight. So at that point, trying to save him is not really going to be the concern. You need to try to at least even it up and take out their ADC. As we see Zognolo trying to go for a chase here, Salme Fape is going to burn the flash to get out to safety.
Yeah, able to survive out that one, but has to commit the flash, so that advantage you had from burning Zognola's flash in the last one just kind of neutralized. And yeah, with everyone on the bot side, though, it's not going to be the Baron forced or anything like that. They're just going to play it slower. They don't want to have a big throw potential here, so they're just going to go for the Drake, a little bit safer of a play. Caitlyn, so good if you're at the objective first, already able to put up a pretty nice trap line, so should have a great advantage going into this fight.
All right, we're going to see they're setting up for this Drake. It's going to be soul point for them if they grab this. But we see all members actually of CB Void pivoting over here. Sultan actually going to go forward here just to scout out a bit. Curtain call is popped, but not going to be enough to take the Drake here, as King Z is going to grab the Seraphine in the process, and in comes the Paranoia as well, and the Jhin gets instantly deleted per usual. Like I said, just a really tough game for this Jhin. Try and do what you can, but at this point, like, you don't have 5 flashes in a row. You're not going to get out of that situation.
Yeah, it's just looking so tough for them to actually secure this one. They are going to be walking towards this Baron. 4 strong. They have the Urgot on the other side, and it looks like CBV's, notably giving it up. Maybe trying to look for a dive or something on Zognolo, only sitting at half HP, so I think it's possible, but it's all they could do. If this doesn't work out, I feel like it's just so doomed.
Yeah, get Zognolo, grab a turret maybe in the process, and it might be worthwhile here. They do pick up that kill here. Sloppy and Floppy going to have to jump out of that turret range here, and they do grab the turret, so definitely something for it, because they know they're not going to win that Baron fight. They're not even in position for that at that point in time there too, missing their entire bot lane after that Drake fight. Sultan getting a little bit of value here in this mid lane as well, chunking it down. But they just gotta go for these kind of split pushing strategies for now, because Paranoia is popped, and it is going to be the Pantheon that goes down to Coyote here, making the most out of this Axiom arc actually. And I don't know if you can fight this Gwen 1v1 though. This Gwen is level 18 already and has 3.5 items, has the stasis as well if need be. So I gotta say, Salme Floppy, tough early game, but really got back into this game 4-1-0 so far with 288 CS and finishing up the Zhonya's as well. So a lot of this late game is going to be on for him to carry it for the team, because there's not enough damage from everywhere else. I mean, even if you have items on this Jhin, we've seen how that goes a couple times whenever this Nocturne's around.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. It's a pretty interesting spot to be in as ZBV, but I definitely don't envy their position. I think this is gonna be pretty tough. I think there's gonna have to be a big mistake, but a huge engage
We get the flash roar from the Yone as well, and the Fate sealed. The Mel goes down. The Swain gets cut down as well. We get a shutdown going over to Yone, and Jester chasing down. Say sorry, does get stunned up here, and you get the needlework. The shutdown goes over to Sloppy McFloppy as well. They somehow turned it around. It was almost a 9k gold deficit. Now just 6k, but they're going to grab some more value out of this. One turret's going to go down for sure. They might even get the tier 2 turret as they're going to continue pushing down. Man, what an engage from Sultan to start off that fight.
Yeah, and they have to back on the top side, so they're not going to be able to equalize any of this gold that CBV is getting. They're going to go for the inhib. I think this is just free. What a big turnaround here for CBV, but, you know, you got to think, is this enough? They just, you know, kind of levied the storm a little bit, but there's still a huge force behind DPI once they get these respawn timers through. King Z, you know, uncharacteristic to not be able to flash on reaction there, at least according to these last couple games. So nice catch up there from Soten. A hero play, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Going for that Rabadons on this Mel, but maybe getting a little too comfortable with the lead. Maybe Azanias would have been better off built as this fourth item here because Mel does lack that mobility, and you know there's a lot of things that could dive you in this game. The Pantheon, the Yone, and then even the Mel or even the Gwen in a good position could be good. Meanwhile, this Gwen is almost full build at this point too, 5-1, looking to finish off with the Rabadons. This Mel is going to be scary, and it's been level 18 for like quite some time at this point. But yeah, the win con really lies around her, but this Yone is providing a lot of value at this point in time too. So things are not over for CBV. It looked pretty tough, but this is now just a little bit over 4k gold difference now, and that's not so bad given how things looked like just 10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they've definitely somehow, some way made it back their way back into this game. At least just a little bit. You know, any chance is a good chance. They want to find this victory. They don't want to be sitting at 1-5 after 6 regular season weeks. So they want to find this victory, and this is important for DPI. Don't forget, they're sitting at 3-2, and they've beaten all the teams below them. You know, this is their last name off that list, which would secure pretty much guaranteed at least top 5. Oh, big engage here.
And Coyote gets cut down and caught out, gets the shutdown. Jester takes out air holes as well. Things are just looking entirely in favor of CBV somehow. And in comes the Pantheon. Oh, Say Sorry goes down as well. And King Z is just going to have to try to do whatever he can to get out of this.
Game's over.
But the shot from Jin is in the finish. And meanwhile, Sultan soloing Zagnolo. How the heck did they come back from this game? Crazy team fight from CBV to pull off this victory.
2 big mistakes there from DPI, and that's enough to just get through this wall that was DPI. I mean, I was talking about how impossible the game was kind of looking, and they need a miracle play. It comes through from Sultan.
Oh my god.
And then they make one more critical mistake in the mid lane with no inhibitor up, and that's just the game over. Wow. What a performance there from CBB. I mean, that came out of nowhere. And just like that, DPI is... I mean, they've got to be kicking themselves.
Look at this gold graph. Like, that is absolutely insane what they had to overcome in that position. I mean, just crazy mental resilience from the side of CBV. Even the death KDA doesn't even look good. Like, if you look at the end charts here, you're probably thinking, oh, DPI won this. But that was not the case at all. Heartbreaking for the side of DPI, but what a performance from CBV. Look, it might not be MSI, and that might not be Pro League of Legends, but Divinity League's got some of the most exciting games. So you really don't know how any of it's going to end. But huge plays from CBV to collect that final game victory and win the series against DPI.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was an unheard of game. That should just not happen ever. Yeah. They had pretty much everything they needed to win the game. But a couple of bad fights and Gwen being in the right position at the right time finds the damage to be able to tear through all of these champions that are pretty squishy. We talked about how risky the Nocturne build was. Guess what? The last 2 Nocturne ults pretty ineffective as far as finding value. And even in that last fight, it looked kind of close. King Z actually gets a huge reflect there on the Seraphine ult. But it still doesn't matter. There's just no damage follow-up on top of it. And he commits the Golden Eclipse. It just doesn't have the stacks to be able to actually pop anyone's HP bars. And they just run away with it from there. And they're able to close out this game. And CVV unexpected victory, finds themselves now at 2-4 for the season. So, if they win out their next game, they're going to be sitting at 3-4, and it may not give them enough for playoffs, but they're definitely going to just be right there knocking on that door. So, pretty big performance there. And DPI, I mean, that's got to be the game that almost feels like, oh man, we had playoffs in our hands. It was right there. If we just secure that victory, more than likely you probably make it in. Considering some of the other matches that they've won, going head to head against some of the other middle of the pack teams. So a little bit unfortunate there, and it's just going to mean that they're going to have to really climb up and I think maybe have their playoff chances determined by other teams' performances, not just their own.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, I'm sure some other teams watching are probably thinking, wow, okay, well, we might have a shot there too over DPI. So, wow, what a series from both teams there. I mean, I think a lot of great plays on both ends, and DPI just had a stronghold on that entire game until just those last two team fights. It was actually just completely wild how they were to flip it. But oh wow, I still can't believe it too. I'm just like, yeah, this game's probably over. Like we'll finish out the casting of it, but this won't be a 40-minute banger, and it wasn't. But in the completely other direction that I wouldn't have expected. So, wow, that's Divinity League for you.
League of Legends.
But yeah, League of Legends. Anyway, I mean, shout out to everyone that stuck around to hang out as well and tune into the broadcast. Hopefully you had a good time. I had a great time here. And if you love Titan Esports, I believe we have some merch as well, summer merch even coming at you all. And I think you can find it at Titan. I don't know the exact website, so just double check on Titan. Oh, here it is. FOFesports.com/Titan. And here you could get your summer merch wave. I might have to pick up a tank top myself here too, because these look pretty fresh.
Definitely some high quality merch here. I still need to pick up mine, I'm not gonna lie. So, but just know, if anyone vouches, I know Ferris, and you guys know Ferris. He swears by this merch. So trust me, it's high quality. Definitely check it out, and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and I believe they have some other merch as well, not just summer merch. So be on the lookout for that. But as always, thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to Going Gad for casting with me, and shout out to Chris for working the broadcast and the Observer, going double duty today. And that's going to wrap it up for week number 6 of Divinity League. Catch us next Monday as well for how the regular season concludes. Until next time, have a good one and peace out.